of the Oceanside City Council, Harbor CDC for May 28, 2014. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wood?
Here.
Councilmember Kern?
Here.
Councilmember Salim? Here. Councilmember Feller? Here. Deputy Mayor Sanchez is absent.
Thank you. With that, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you. Council meeting closed session to discuss the following items. Item 1, conference with labor negotiator on the status of negotiations involving the Western Council of Engineers, management employees of the City of Oceanside, OPOA non-sworn, Oceanside Fire Management Association, and Oceanside Firefighters Association. Item 2, conference with real estate negotiator. You can go back. That's fine. I don't want to stop you. Conference with real property negotiator involving the portion of Rancho Del Oro Road right-of-way north of State Route 78, portion of Haymar right-of-way south of State Route 78 west of College Boulevard, and a portion of airport right-of-way south of State Route 76. Negotiating parties, City of Oceanside and BGT Media, CBS Outdoor, and Lamar Outdoor Advertising. Under negotiation are price and terms for the use of the real property. Item 2B, conference with real estate negotiator involving the city-owned El Corazon property. Under negotiations are price and terms for the exchange of a portion of the property with the Ivy Ranch Development Company. Item 2C has been removed from the agenda. Item 3, conference with litigation counsel involving Dunnex, Cavalier Mobile Estates versus City of Oceanside, and Miller versus City of Oceanside.
Thank you. Adjourn to closed session. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. First off, I have bad allergies. I sound strange. I sound sick. I guess I'm just allergies, but back to that. In case you have a hard time hearing me, let me know. I'll speak up. But welcome. We have an interesting agenda today, and I welcome you all. With that, could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Wood.
There.
Deputy Mayor Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Kern.
Here.
Councilmember Feline. Here. Councilmember Feller.
Here.
Thank you. With some housekeeping, if you have a phone or cell phone or pager, put it on silent or vibrate. We'd appreciate that. The first half of the council meeting is generally the items on the consent calendar, a few others. I can bring some of them up early and handle them, especially some of these on the mayor and council items. And then we do at 5 o'clock mainly the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance proclamations and the rest of the calendar. So there is a little bit of a split between the first and the second half. With that, Mr. Clerk, if we could we have the consent calendar?
Consent calendar items 4 through 17.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Move and second. Do we have public on that?
No public.
The council, I see none. With that, please vote.
Motion approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to bring up an item early here because I think it's going to be important. Mr. Clerk, could we have item number 29, and that'll be Mr. Kern's item, please.
Yes, item number 29 is request by Councilmember Kern to consider a request from the Veterans Association of North County to participate in the capital funding match program with the city and provide direction to staff.
Thank you. Mr. Kern, your item.
Thank you. Is Barbara here? I was hoping she would make her presentation. Anyway, this is in response to a letter that we all received from the Veterans Association of North County about a building that needs to be built out. So maybe we're so quick that Barbara wasn't here, but we have a presentation coming up. So as we're waiting for her, Sandra, do you want to come up and kind of give us some background on this, and then we'll let Barbara come up and make a presentation when she comes in?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Sandra Fichter. I'm the Vice President of the Veterans Association of North County. We appreciate very much your time this afternoon. Basically, as you know, because you've all been so wonderful in supporting us through this journey, we had a concept, a vision of a one-stop resource center for North County veterans, their families, and for active duty. As many of you have visited, even recently here, Memorial Day, you have seen the progress that's been made, again, with your support and with the whole county's support. And we are almost ending our journey of completion and hopefully our ribbon cutting very soon. Big Chuck and I are ready for that so we can go on vacation here soon. So basically this is the last step that we see in our efforts so that we can see the building as a reality. We are housing a lot of programs even now without its completion, and we are creating programs as soon as space is available, and we're filling the space as we create it. So there is a big urgency to complete this.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you. There's a presentation on the gal. I don't know where she's at, but she. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's coming right.
Oh, okay. She's coming right now. All right. That's good because, you know,
The only other thing I want to do before I forget, because sometimes we forget to do this, is we'd like to invite any of you, which you always have been kind enough to come by, and the public to come visit us and continue to see the progress that we're making. We're at 1617 Mission Avenue here in Oceanside, and we welcome anybody's visit so we can show up for what you as a community have helped us build so far.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So our presenter is here. So Barbara, if you can introduce yourself and go through the presentation, then we can move on from there.
Good evening, Mayor Wood, City Council members. My name is Barbara Cogburn, and I am happy to be here this evening to present to you the capital funding program on behalf of the Veterans Association of North County, or what we like to refer to as VANCE. want to start this evening by thanking the City of Oceanside citizens and the City Council for all the help and support that you've given us up to this point. We're very excited to be here with you this evening, and we look forward to our continuing partnership in the future. I want to start us off, and I want to talk about just a few numbers. So I've got a few on the board here for you. By the end of this evening, when we are done here, 22 veterans will have committed suicide in this country. At the end of an average month, that number looks like 660 veterans. By the end of the year, it will be 8,030 veterans who have committed suicide. And why I bring this to you today is because we have urgency about what we'd like to do at the Advanced Resource Center, and we're asking you to help us speed up our process so we can minimize these numbers in some way. Now, suicide's not the only issue that our veterans are facing these days. There are multiple issues. Right now, the reality is there's a drawdown, a forced reduction. Many veterans are being asked to assimilate back into our communities sooner than they had planned on. This directly impacts our employment issues, and veterans' employment issues, as you know, are about 1 to 2% higher, the rates are, than their average civilian counterpart. That also can lead to increasing homelessness. Now, there's some other issues just besides employment and homelessness that our vets face. Many vets spend an enormous amount of time just trying to manage their medical and mental health issues. I have many of those listed here tonight. And we have the ability to bridge the gap and connect them to services that can help them take care of those needs. We also have another dynamic around female veterans that we have not had in the past. We sent females to combat in a much different capacity than we ever had, and they're coming back with different issues. Most of the time when we brought people back from wars, all of the solutions were centered on male vets, and that's not the case anymore. We've got wonderful programs centered around helping female vets, and we can also bridge those females to those programs. They have a higher rate of unemployment than their male counterparts and homelessness. And when a female vet goes into a homeless situation, she not only takes herself, but oftentimes she takes her family and her children with her. Now, that's just a few of the things that go on with our vets, and they're going to increase and that we're going to face here in Oceanside in larger and larger numbers. We've been helping some of them, but we'd like to help more. If I'm a vet in Oceanside and I'm looking for services, well, I've got a little ways to go. I pretty much have to go 35 miles south down to San Diego to find the services I need. Or if I want to go north, it's 55 miles north or maybe more to the Long Beach area for the VA Institute up there. So we need to bring those resources in-house. We'd like to do that in the Vance building, the Resource Center, and get them centered up here so Oceanside has a one-stop shopping center, if you will, for resources. We have a pretty good model to do that. And we really think we're a little bit unique, and we've had some pretty good success with it so far. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. We have the ability to not recreate the wheel, but actually take the service providers that are in the area and actually connect them to veterans with problems and challenges that they need help with. So that's what we do. We kind of live in the middle of this hourglass, and we're a conduit to bridge resources to problems, and then create solutions that we follow through to a successful conclusion for our veterans. And that's our model. It's been working pretty good so far, and we're pretty excited about it. We try not to recreate anything new unless there's a gap in services that we cannot bridge, and then we might create something new. But otherwise, we're really trying to utilize services that are already in place. Now, I want to spend the next few minutes of my presentation talking about who we are at Vance, who we're serving, and what our priorities are for 2014. Who we are. We are a group of veterans helping veterans, essentially. We help active duty, we help retirees, and we help their family members. And we cover all age ranges, all generations of veterans. No more are veterans considered Vietnam vets, but we're seeing all this new generation of veterans. We help anybody. We're covering all the generations that need help. We're a volunteer organization made up of 37 service member organizations, and there's 5,000 of us. Now, here's who we're serving. We serve the 80,000 veterans that currently reside here in North County, 35,000 on top of which are active duty at Camp Pendleton. And we do that with our 5,000 member Vance umbrella organizations, which are 37 strong. Again, we know our model works. We know it's slightly unique. We're not recreating the wheel. We're not specifically honing in on one single service that we provide. We're just connecting all of our resources to problems and challenges the vets have. It's been a successful model. We like it. And I have a couple testimonies I'd like to share with you this evening. And so I'd like to bring up Matt McCool, who's been one of our successful vets that's gone through the VAMPS program. So Matt, if you'll come on up.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. Matt McCool. I'm a recently retired Marine.
Can we adjust your mic a little higher to you so we can hear you better? Thank you.
Recently retired Marine from Camp Pendleton, been in the area for over 25 years now. I want to talk about the CTAP, Career Transition Assistance Program that we have here at Advance. I was a student in the program just about a year ago, and this program provides the training and, most importantly, an efficient use of many of the resources that are out there. Allows the students to gain that confidence they need to go out and interview and be prepared for transition into the civilian workforce. Helps us translate many of our military skills to the civilian workforce as well. Great program. I've seen a number of Marines that have moved on. A friend of mine, John Owens, was in the program before I did. He's now working with veterans organizations in Ohio. Very successful story there, carrying on what he's learned at CTAP and helping additional and other veterans all across the country, but all stemming right here from Oceanside. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to thank Matt for sharing his story with us. That's great. So I have another success story I want to share with you. So I'm kind of going to direct you to this slide right now and kind of show you. This is the actual case study of this female veteran we had come to us. And she had quite a few needs, and you'll see that on the needs side of the slide. You know, she needed job search, child care, she had 3 children, and she needed some housing assistance desperately, or it was going to be pretty dire. And so Vance helped her out, and all the resources we provided her were on the right-hand side. So it took that many services to get her some stability, get her in a home, and Vance was able to find her a job. Now, we desperately wanted her to be here to share her story tonight instead of me telling it for her, but she is busy because she is fully employed and she could not be here. So that's a good ending to the story, and that's okay. So we've had some great successes. We'd like to have more. We've got to get that center up and running. I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about our history too, just quickly. Many of you know the history of VAMPS. We started out as 25 veteran service organizations, really looking for a home, somewhere to have meetings at. None of us had any permanent meeting space. And we kind of started talking to Chuck and Atkinson, and he said, hey, we should go to the city and ask for some help. And what you did was you provided us the old police station on Mission Avenue. And so we've had a great partnership with you. We appreciate that lease that you gave us. And it's nice to bring all of our service organizations into one place where we can grow our membership and connect to the generations of vets that are currently downsizing out of the military. So that's kind of how we started. And you may know that old building as a police station, but here's what it looks like now, and this is what we've done to it. So we've turned it into the Veterans Association of North County VAMPS Resource Center. And not only have we transformed the outside, but we've done a little bit on the inside. I want to show you our progress so far. So here's just a picture of the inside of the building, and if you will look with me, I don't know if this is going to show up, but you can see on the left-hand side where it says meeting classes and CTAP on that 3,500 square feet. That was the front of the building that originally you had planned to use, I think, for city code enforcement in the front of the building, and then you generously kind of gave it back to us, found some other arrangements, I think. And so that space has been used for the last couple years for meeting space for our groups. Interfaith has used some of the space. Walmart did a hiring initiative out of it. And what we usually use that for is our Career Transition Assistance Program. We call that CTAP. Again, you know, it's military people. We got to have a couple acronyms in there. And those CTAP grads are doing excellent, excellent things. So we've been really utilizing that space. We need more. Now, the blue outlined area is our conference room and our entrance lobby area, and that's been up and running, funded, paid for, and constructed for some time. We're currently in the middle of more construction, and that's the red highlighted area. That's our lounges and our training and meeting rooms, and we're really, really excited about that. That's going to give us a full training room that's completely outfitted to run more classes out of, with all the AV technology and everything wired into that. Plug and play. We're very excited. That creates a ton of capability for us. We hope that will be completed by the end of June. So that red square is the phase that's being built out now. And the phase we're here to talk to you about is the capital campaign to complete phase, the banquet hall, and the kitchen. 2 more areas to complete, but we could use some assistance with that. Now, what we've got there is a fully equipped kitchen, and we have a culinary arts program to train vets that is ready and waiting to move into that kitchen for a training program. It's up and running. It just would like to be housed instead of an Escondido here in Oceanside. And then we assume, or we're estimating, excuse me, about a $1.2 million budget to finish the build-out, purchase the equipment and furnishings we will need for the rest of the building to be a complete resource center. So that's the inside of the building. Now, for about 7 years, we've been piecemealing this through grants and donations and fundraising together, and it's taken us 7 years, all of our organizations, to get 2/3 of the way done with the building. We think with the current climate of the veteran situation here in Oceanside, we don't have another 7 years. So we really come to you today to ask you if you can help us and accelerate this process. Our priorities for 2014 are this. We really want to complete the building, and with your help, we think we can do that much quicker than in 7 years. If we're able to complete the building, we'd like to scale up the services we're currently providing. Right now, we provide services to veterans and their families at a current rate of about 1,000 vets a year. We would like to be at 3,000 people served by the end of the year. We really, really want to increase our job placement to 400 vets a year. Currently, our CTAP is doing exceptional things. I want to talk about that for a second. But they're doing a really wonderful job. It's our own created program, the only one we have, and we're really proud of it. But we're only getting 100 veterans into job placement so far. We think we can get 400 job placements for vets by the end of the year if we have the capability to do so. When we started our CTAP class, it looked like this. We had pretty much 10, maybe 12 students who showed up. This picture represents our CTAP students and some of our coaches in the coaching lab before the class starts, and you can see they had plenty of room. It's pretty roomy in there. It looked pretty good. And that was the front of the building where we're currently using. Here's how we look now. We are elbow to elbow. All those are students. We have 25 or more per class and a waiting list. Currently, we have a 90% success rate for job placement in that program. It's working. It's an excellent program. We get rave reviews, and we've only grown it through word of mouth. We need to do more with it, and we think we can if we have more capacity in the building. What's the future advance? The future advance for us, as we see it, is this. We want to connect more vets to more services, increase our capacity. We really want to lean into our CTAP program. It's important for us that we do more job training programs, increase the amount of employment for vets in education. We want to connect more vets to medical and mental health organizations that can help them with their needs. And we also think we have a unique opportunity to generate some income. We have a banquet hall space in the Vance Resource Building that is kind of unique in Oceanside, and we think we can create enough income to become self-sustaining. How can you help? Well, City Council, you can help with this. Our number one concern is really getting enough funds to complete our building. That's what we're here asking for tonight. We just need some help, and we would really like your help to do that. We cannot afford to take another 7 years to provide the resources we need for our veterans in Oceanside. I'm going to bring you back to where I started at the beginning, and I started with telling you that today 22 veterans will die. If we wait 7 more years to finish this resource center, the number looks like this: 56,210 vets that will perish because we couldn't provide them services. as a retired Marine, an Iraqi vet, a woman Marine, Association member and past president, advanced member and past trustee. It has been my honor to be here to present to you this evening, and I thank you so much for allowing this time in front of the council. Mayor Wood, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'd like to open it up to any questions that you may have.
Well, what we're going to do, if you want to have a seat over here, and Chuck and Sandra, if you want to have a seat over here, what we're going to do now is what I'm going to do now is actually make the motion, put the motion on the floor, then we'll go to the public. And I'd like to make the motion to refer this item to the city manager to provide a mechanism to implement the funding request by Vance and return to the city council within 30 days for council action.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second on the floor, so Mr. Clerk, if you can...
Yes, we have Tom Garcia can come forward to speak at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and fellow veterans, and the citizens of Oceanside. I'm here representing Assemblyman Rocky Chavez. He's an Assemblyman for the 76th Assembly District. He's a retired Marine, Army, but that's okay. I'm going to read a letter that Rocky has in support of this. Rocky's been was involved in the City Council and has been very supportive of Vance in the original acquisition of the building. So, Mayor and members of the City Council, a little more than 7 years ago, the City of Oceanside acknowledged the needs of some of the 80,000 veterans living in the North County area, including Oceanside, by allowing the Veterans Association of North County, Vance, to utilize the former Oceanside Police Department building. Vance has brought together many veteran service organizations they partner with under one roof with the goal of providing a one-stop operation where veterans and their families can receive assistance in a safe environment. Over the past 7 years, Vance has worked hard to meet the growing demands of our veteran community in North County. To date, Vance has received some $700,000 in donations from individuals, businesses, foundations, and others, having applied these monies toward the eventual construction and build-out of their facility. Vance is requesting that the City of Oceanside enter into a capital funding match program in an effort to maintain the momentum of current construction and complete the construction build-out. Participation of such a proposal by the city would help reduce the overall construction costs and expedite the process of expanding services to our veterans and their family members. Remembering to date, this has taken Vance 7 years to get where they are. It is for these reasons I strongly urge and encourage the City of Oceanside to participate and support Vance in the request to enter into a capital funding match program as stated in their letter to the City Council. Sincerely, Assemblyman Rocky Chavez. That's Rocky's acknowledgement of what's going on here and his plea for the city to support the veterans. The veterans all the veterans and the military are an important part of the whole population of Oceanside, and I think we deserve to acknowledge what they've done for us and to support them in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And just a couple of things I want to mention. Tom's a former Oceanside Veteran of the Year, and Tom, pass along our congratulations to Rocky for being named Legislator of the Year by the VFW.
No further public on this item.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back to my colleagues, and then we'll see what happens.
That's all there is for public on this?
Correct.
And before I go to this, can I have all the gentlemen here representing this Vance issue? Please stand up so the camera can scan around, and that way you can be if any of you are out there on the federal witness protection, duck down as the camera scans the room. Hopefully they will do that in the back room. Scan the audience. These are our veterans I want you to see here. They're filled up our chamber. Thank you, Joan. Have a seat, ladies, too. Thank you very much. I'm going to start off here by Councilman Feller, please.
Thank you. I have a question about the lounge. Is that an undercover term, or like some of the veterans buildings that I've seen over the years? They have a lounge as well.
Chuck, you have to push that red lights on.
Okay.
That's true. We do have a lounge in there. It's not been a secret. It's in the plans from day one. All the city knows about it. Everybody knows about it. And that's part of the resource to keep our funds going and to keep the program going that we have, and also to maintain the facility that we told the city we would do. This will generate revenues to help us do that process.
So have you, because that's going to be a pretty important piece of it, I think, have you applied for licenses?
I think it is ABC license.
Yeah. No, we have not applied for that license yet, but we are putting the bar in, and things are moving forward. We will be applying for that shortly. But yeah, things are moving fine.
Okay, very good. I applaud the effort. I'm proud to support it. I'm a veteran too.
And the funds that we've raised so far has paid for that lounge, so no money going forward will be used for that purpose because it's already paid for.
Thank you.
Councilmember Feline, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly will support the motion as well. I think Oceanside's a military town, and and we're going to do what we need to do to help part of our community that's so much a part of our city, and service that has been made. And I think it's only right that we do everything we can to help our veterans in these difficult times. With the military downsizing taking place and what's the worst economic recovery in our nation's history, we need to do everything we can. I mean, this is the only economic recovery in which real disposable income has gone down since the recovery has been declared, and the job market growth is the worst since the Depression. And sadly, our military members have to come into this type of economic environment, and it's always difficult transitioning military skills into the civilian market, and this type of economy makes that challenge even more difficult. And if Vance can help bridge that gap and get veterans into jobs and help with that transition, we need to do everything we can, and I'm proud to support this motion. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Veterans, servicing our veterans and our military families has been one of our highest priorities for the city of Oceanside. Oceanside is basically a home for many veterans, many military families who decide to stay in Oceanside and help make this city as great as it is. The diversity is due to this, to the fact that many of the veterans went out to all corners of the world and brought home wives and contributed to this great culture that we have here in Oceanside. I'd say we're probably the most diverse in the county, and it's something that has really been a huge part of Oceanside, the cultural diversity. I am very supportive of this. I do have some questions about the lounge. As you know, that this is a highly saturated part of town. This neighborhood, it's overly saturated with, I think there are like maybe 10 alcohol licenses, and it's also a high crime rate. So that's certainly something that I hope that you will meet with our neighborhood residents to talk about this. This is smack dab in the middle of two very challenged neighborhoods that we have in Oceanside. So I understand the need to help fund programs. Alcohol, I guess that again, that's something. I know that the events that we've had in the center so far have been non-alcoholic, at least the ones that I've attended anyway. So I don't know, maybe there have been others that I haven't been able, to make. But anyway, again, in terms of the services, definitely necessary. We knew that this day was coming, that we were going to be heavily hit in the county, but especially Oceanside, in terms of returning military who decide to retire here, and especially in terms of this transition. It's pretty much you're asking someone to have this heightened sense of life or death, and to act, and then all of a sudden, after just a short period of time, all of a sudden you have to change, and it's a transition that we're not really providing so far in a way that is, in my mind, satisfactory. So kudos to what you are doing to make that happen, because that transition certainly is very, very critical, especially for the service that's been great service that is being provided in terms of for our community and our country. Thank you.
Thank you. My comments on this are that particular building was part of my life. I worked there over 20 years as a police officer and detective, so I have a lot of memories from that building. It certainly has changed a lot to the positive. It's a beautiful building on the outside and inside, especially when it gets finished. I told other people in advance that my dad was a DAV chaplain, and he asked me to help get something for the DAV and all the other veterans before he passed away, and I said I would try and help, and I told people that. So it's very important that we, a military town like this, does something for our veterans. The other thing I see that's strange is I see a lot of, let's say, more mature veterans than young ones. I use that term loosely. Than young ones. I hope it'll come together now with the young ones and the old ones and everybody teaching something out of the building that will be doing just what you described up here, helping everybody. I know some of you in your own group hurt yourself for fundraising a few years back, and it's been slow because of the economy too. But I remember I asked Dougal Hagan from Sterling to help you out, and I want to thank him for doing that, and also the Home Depot. I remember they were very active, involved. So we're happy that people have been helping you. The only issue I have here, and that is going to the city manager as requested in the motion, is that we get asked almost daily by groups mainly asking for funding and help. It's been tough to turn down an awful lot of people to say no, not now with the economy. I think this is a priority as a military town, so I think you're going to have unanimous support for you. I just don't want to have 100 people standing in line knocking on the door to try to give us other money aspects, because that's kind of an opening Pandora's box to do a matching fund for $600,000. We've done it before, and it's always worked out, so I think the same will happen here. With that in mind, like I say, I want to make sure that the city manager sets up something for you to get this done as soon as possible. I think you said it with more polite terms. There's time takes its toll on some of our veterans, and I understand that. I'd like to have it done while they're still here and enjoying the fact that we have a building for them, educating all the other young people that are in the military getting out now. So we have a lot of wonderful people in this audience today. I looked around and I saw you a few days ago. Here you are again, and like I say, you are the people that push this thing and make it happen on a daily basis. We might help you fund this thing tonight, but really, gentlemen, ladies in the audience, you really need to pat yourselves on the back for what you've done all this time up to this point. From an old police station that had its own problems to a very beautiful building that's not just Oceanside, it's North County, and they said 37 veterans group. I thought it was over 40 now. But what I'm getting to is I'm proud of Oceanside that we're doing this for the veterans. The ones in the past, the ones in the future too, they're going to be coming out here in our Oceanside area and their families. So I want to thank all of you in the audience that made it go this far. And I'm sure our city manager will work out some details for you, because we've done this before for other groups. But that's all I have to say. I'm going to ask for a vote here, but I wanted to thank all of you first. Chuck, Sandy, we know you guys did it. I see way in the back. Wave your hand, Tilt. Another one, and also a good writer from the paper and his books. Thank you for all behind the scenes, all the help from all the different people around the city of Oceanside. God bless you and thank you. Bill, I didn't forget you. Bill Kennedy always has something going on for all the bikers in the area, raising money for always the military. I want to thank you personally for all that. With that, here's a Excuse me, I have a city manager request. Mr. Jeff. Give the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could we get the motion restated once before we vote on it, so I'm clear what that was?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to do it, but you're going to restate it.
It was the motion to refer this item to the city manager and to provide the mechanism to implement the funding request by Vance and return to the council within 30 days for council action.
So that's for the request, the $600,000 match
Right.
program. All right,
And
thank you.
bring it back, and then we're going to vote on it again once the deal is worked out.
Very good.
Is that enough time, Mr. Jeffrey?
Yes, I think that it's clear, as long as the veterans have a little bit of flexibility.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and we want to make sure you have a collection of your challenge coins all over the building, and now I have a nice collection. Thank you. And as for Rocky, thank you for giving that from him. We prefer to have money, but we'll take that just in case. Okay. Tell them that we prefer money, but I thank you all. And with that, you're the one answer.
Yeah, I'm just going to close briefly. There's nothing I can really add to this. I'd like to thank you all for showing up. And I think Barbara deserves a round of applause for that. Yeah, and I think taking this, maybe taking this presentation on KOCT and let the public see it again in a separate venue, I think that really explains what we're doing. So I really do appreciate everybody showing up, and I appreciate the council's support.
Please vote.
Motion approved 5-0.
Okay, all you rowdies out of here. Thank you all. You don't have to stay, I know that, but thank you very much for being here. Thank you all. Thank you all. Now just finish it. We're going to take about a 5-minute break here for a second, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second half of the council meeting. We generally have the invocation, pledge of allegiance, and some presentations, and we go into the other business. But thank you for being here. One more time for housekeeping. If you have a pager, cell phone, whatever, silent or vibrate, we'd appreciate it. And we'll get started here. With that, let's do another roll call, please.
Mayor Wood?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sanchez?
Here.
Councilmember Kern? Here. Councilmember Feline? Here. Councilmember Feller?
Here.
Thank you. With that, Valerie, will you take it from there, please?
Yes, if you'd all please stand at this time for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight, leading us in the invocation is our City Clerk, Zach Beck, who is also the youth pastor for Gateway Community Church.
Let's bow our heads. Father, I come before you tonight to just say thank you. Thank you for this privilege, this blessing, this honor it is to live in this wonderful community of Oceanside. We seek your guidance, your wisdom and discernment during the deliberations this evening as it pertains to policy that's crafted for the individuals who reside in the city. And we ask special prayers for Councilmember Feller, for Councilmember Feline, for Mayor Wood, for Deputy Mayor Sanchez, for Councilmember Kern and their families, God, that you would just be guiding and directing them and helping them find peace in their discourse this evening. And we pray for all of the residents of Oceanside, residents with different beliefs, different backgrounds, different pasts, different presents, and different futures. And one uniting feature is that we all love the city so much, and we're so grateful for the opportunity to live here. And we seek your guidance for the rest of this evening and beyond. In your name, amen.
Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, we have youth from the Filipino American Cultural Association of North San Diego County. And we'd like to call forward the following individuals: Angelina Fleming, Alicia Ramos, Felicity Manawis, Millicent Pilot, Kira Santos, Ryan Risco, Rachel Risco, and Ilana Santos.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may all be seated at this time. Now we'd like to call forward the following individuals who will be receiving a proclamation for Filipino Cultural Celebration 2014. We'd like to call forward PhilAm's President, Amelia Sivage, and PhilAm's Secretary, Belle Limoges. With them is the city's Library Director, Sherry Cosby, and our Library Division Manager, Brad Penner. Proclamation in honor of Filipino Cultural Celebration 2014. Whereas the Filipino American Cultural Organization, PhilAm, established in 1976, has a mission to foster friendship among the Filipino American residents of the region and with others, encourage better knowledge and understanding of the Philippines and the United States of America's histories and cultures, and to seek the participation of the Filipino American youth who may become future leaders in the community. And whereas PhilAm has a broad membership representing all regions of the Philippines, and whose role in the community is especially important in Oceanside, where Filipino Americans have made vital contributions in medicine, the military, technology, government, and the economy. And whereas PhilAm is working to celebrate the diversity of our community and foster understanding and appreciation of Filipino culture by partnering with the Oceanside Public Library to present the 13th annual Oceanside Filipino Cultural Celebration on Saturday, June the 7th. And whereas the Filipino Cultural Celebration will be filled with music, dance, performance, fashion, costume, pageantry, and arts from the Philippines and from the Filipino American community, and will celebrate Philippine Independence Day. And whereas the event will have the theme of Rebuild, Re-educate, Remember Heritage,
and will include presentations related to the scholarship and youth development activities of PhilAm, with crafts and stories for children hosted by the Oceanside Public Library. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, do hereby proclaim Saturday, June the 7th as Filipino Cultural Day in our community.
Thank you. Can I have the rest of the Filipino audience come on up front? Come on up, stand up here, all of you. Yes, young lady, bring them up here, join the crowd. I'm so happy about this presentation because every year we do it, and this is one of my favorite get-togethers on the year for the entertainment, dancing, the community, the cultures. You can come up here if you want to take your pictures later. It'll be live on TV. You can get it later. So I'm going to pass the mic to somebody important. Are we going with the library or them first?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We just appreciate your support, and we look forward as a library every year to this event and working with this just phenomenal group to present the PhilAm Cultural Celebration. So I just want to let Belle say a few words. Not Belle. I'm sorry.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay. Good afternoon. And firstly, we are honored to be here, and we are very thankful to Mayor Wood and the Oceanside City Council for giving us the opportunity to invite everybody on our 13th annual Filipino Cultural Day, which will be on June 7, Saturday. Yeah, 13 years, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it will be a fun-filled day where we will showcase the richness of Filipino culture through arts, music, dances, food, vendors, crafts, and the beauty of Filipino women. And if you like the costumes of these girls in front of you, there will be more of them on June 7th, because we have over 30 models, and we have a lot of cultural dancers too. There will be cultural performances, both by adult and youth, and every year we see to it that we have new cultural dances for the audience to see. And also we give out scholarships for 5 deserving high school students who wants to go pursue college education. And of course we have, if you have America's Got Talent, we have Pinoy's Got Talent. So that's very, very entertaining to see. And we will have Mrs. PhilAm, coronation of Mrs. PhilAm, and we have a scholarship pageant that participated by girls as young as this girl here, like 4 years old. So it's going to be a very, very fun-filled day. And we thank, of course, the Oceanside Public Library and the Friends of the Library and our sponsor, Tri-City Medical Center. And in honor of the resilience of the Filipino people, we want you to remember the Filipino people who had suffered by one of the strongest typhoons in the Philippines. That's why our theme this year is Rebuild, Re-Educate. Remember our heritage. So come and join us. Remember us as we celebrate our culture and heritage on June 7. So thank you very much.
Well, anyway, like it's already been said that, you know, our cultural day is coming up, and I really would like to invite everybody there. You know, it's going to be a fun day for everyone. That's all I can say. Thank you, and I thank the City of Oceanside for inviting us here today. Really, thank you.
We're going to get a photograph. Can we squeeze or turn sideways for we get a little more of us in here? We had a couple of them join us, but can you get us?
You're perfect now. Okay, so great big smile, please. 1, 2, and 3. And again.
Let's hear it for them, folks. Thank you. Thank you all of you here. Thank you, John. Thank you all.
Our next presentation is for Race Across America, and we will be honoring local businesses who supported Team Oceanside. We'd like to call forward from our Oceanside police staff the following individuals: Fred Armijo, Steve Papard, Jose Lopez, and Kaylin Corman. With us tonight, we do have Sean Hogan of Mossy Nissan. And we'd also like to mention Michael Thomas and Deborah Thomas of Pierce Construction and Ray Asante of Intertia Racing Technology.
Let's get them all up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, first year Oceanside Police Department did the race across America from up here all the way across the United States. If I'm not correct, you came in third. That's pretty amazing. First time. Male and female riders all the way, but what I want to mention and why we're bringing it here, not only to recognize our people that participated in the race themselves, which was pretty amazing. You get out here just a few miles, you hit those mountains. That's not bad enough. When you get on the other side, you hit the desert. Then the rest of the way across the United States, I'm very proud of them. As you can see, they have fairly nice bikes. Fairly nice, they're light, but they did a wonderful job. But what I'm here for is to give a presentation here to Mossy Nissan. They supplied a lot, and I do mean a lot, of the support, including a vehicle for this whole race across America. So I'm here to make sure we recognize Mossy Nissan for what they did for us. We even have one of those plaques with a picture on it, with everybody on it, and saying thank you for you, the chief of police. Everybody's in this photo, but I wanted you to know how much I and the rest of the council appreciated your involvement recognizing Oceanside, Mossy Nissan, on a really challenging race across the United States. It's one of the biggest races in the United States and in the world. We had riders here from every country in the world. You know the type, they're about 6'8", and they look like they've never stopped working out in a gym. They ride by themselves. Some of them are teams. We were lucky enough to have a team, and I'm going to pass the mic to Mossy Nissan after I let my captain on the police department say a lot of things about you. May I give this to you, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Wood. We are very appreciative of Mossy Nissan. They support the police department in so many different ways, not just our RAM team. But we also have great support from Pierce Construction and IRT Wills. They help to fund and put us on the road, so we're very grateful to them. I'd like to hand it over to our team captain, Steve Lepard.
Yeah, without Sean Hogan from Mossy Nissan, this race cost a lot to put on, and our reason for doing it was to raise money for the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. That's what we're really out there doing it for, and to raise money for that organization. So cost, you know, right off the top, he was able to help us with vehicles, which cost a lot of money to run. So donated two of our two vehicles, our main vehicles, to get across, and those were our support vehicles and our follow vehicles. And without that, we couldn't have done it, and truly appreciate it. Thank you, Sean. So.
Thank you. Well, we're just very, very, very proud to get behind this team. In fact, when we were first approached by the team and the cause to fight MS, it was something I wanted to be part of right away. And when Steve told me that they were going to race their bike across America, I told him, Steve, that's great, but we do cars, not motorcycles. Well, then he told me, no, Sean, it's not motorcycles. We're actually going to pedal bike across America. And I said, okay, we're definitely getting behind this. So very proud to get behind such a great team and such a great city. And thank you all very, very much.
We're going to take a picture, but let's hear it really loud for a local hero, not only our racing team, but Mossy Nissan. I hope that plaque is hanging on a nice wall at the Republic, and see how much you got behind us, too. Thank you very much, and that's what it's all about. You ever wake up one morning and say, I'm going to ride 3,000 miles on a bicycle across America? I've never had that problem. I wouldn't drive across America by myself. It's too far. But anyhow, guys, ladies, thank you very much for putting it on.
Our next presentation this evening is the Mayor's Oceanside Business Member Spotlight. And we'd like to call forward the following individuals from the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. Their Chairman of the Board, Don Reedy. Board Member C.C. Haas. CEO David Nidegger. And tonight's valued Oceanside business owners happen to be Jeff and Jerry Cassabaum of Jeff Cassabaum Photography.
Hi, buddy. Hey. Well, once again, I'm really honored to be here tonight. And this gentleman here that stands before you, Mr. Jeff Cassabaum, he's fairly widely known. Oh, you can actually hear. Fairly widely known in Oceanside. Probably most of you know him. He is one of the best-known photographers in San Diego. He really is. A little bit about him. He opened the first chain grocery store in Oceanside in 1977. What was that store? No? No?
Food Basket.
There you go, Food Basket. A splash from the past here. So this guy got his start in the grocery aisles, and he worked his way up to the ivory tower here. Fortunately for us, after working in the grocery store business for a while, he discovered 1-hour film processing, and thank goodness for all of us became quite adept at film and photo. Back in the day, he and, was it the mayor's dad? And they used to go out and take photos at Christmas time for free and take the proceeds and give them to Brother Benos for food. And he would go out and take free photos at very nice, free photos at Oceana of retired folks. And even for the chamber, he's kind enough to actually snap photos of us on the chamber board for free. And he's managed to make even David and I look relatively handsome, if I may say so myself. Yeah, I said he had to work. Anyway, if you look at Jeff, you see the smile that's on his face. That smile is the smile that when you're looking at it and he's working with you, it brings just a natural smile to you. He's a family man, a community man, a good guy, a great photographer, and we're really honored. He's worked with the chamber for many years to honor him this evening. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
On behalf of the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce and as chairman of the membership committee, I just want to thank you for everything that you do for the chamber, for the city, and for North County, and for all of San Diego. We thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Jerry, for lending us Jeff.
Yes, this is a well-deserved honor, Jeff. It's been fabulous. He's been a chamber member and a good, solid chamber member now for 30-plus years, and so we really appreciate that. And as Don alluded to, he does an excellent job with Photoshop on my stomach. Thank you. Jeff.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you very much. I appreciate the recognition, and it's the community. And I love Oceanside, I love people, and that's why I have such a passion for what I do. Cool. Thank you.
Mayor, would you like to say anything about yourself? This gentleman has been around for quite a while, as you heard, but he and my dad did a lot of photos together for Disneyland, his stuff in the future, and at Christmas time, and I thank you for that. And we got out in the community, had a good time, and I got a great picture with you the other day too, which is rare. Usually you're never in the pictures, so I got one with you the other day. I'll keep it as a cherished item, which is very rare to have you in a picture. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. our Business of the Month, Jeff Castlebaum, and would you please let him know? Thank you.
Our final presentation this evening, we have a proclamation for National Water Safety Month, and we'd like to call up the following individuals. Our city's Parks and Recreation Manager, Eileen Turk, and with her from the Friends of Oceanside Parks, David and Ann Palmatier. Proclamation in honor of National Water Safety Month. Whereas the citizens of Oceanside should recognize the vital role that swimming and aquatic-based activities play in the achievement of health and wellness. And whereas the City of Oceanside understands the essential role that education regarding the topic of water safety plays in preventing drowning and recreational water-related injuries. And whereas the citizens of Oceanside recognize the city's ongoing efforts and commitments to educate the public on pool and swimming safety issues. And whereas the City of Oceanside is extremely proud of the swimming and aquatic programs in the community and their contributions to fostering lifelong human development, providing recreational experiences beneficial to overall physical fitness. And whereas aquatic recreation programs are vital to the happy lives of thousands of Oceanside children, adults, and seniors. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, do hereby proclaim May 2014 as National Water Safety Month and urge all citizens to safely participate in the many beneficial aquatic programs offered by the Parks and Recreation Division.
May I let you hang on to this? I'll pass the mic down.
Thank you very much. As we gear up for summer, we're looking forward to offering plenty of swimming lessons and programs at Brook Street Swimming Pool, and also we'll be opening up Marshall Street Swimming Pool this summer about mid-June. So thank you very much, Mayor and City Council, for making that dream a reality to open up Marshall Street Pool this summer. Everyone, we're offering surf camp, Habitats in the Sea. It's a class offered down at the harbor where children get an opportunity to learn about nature down at the harbor and sea life. It's a wonderful program. And again, we have over 100 swimming lesson programs that you can sign up for this summer. So please go on our website. It is oceansiderec.com. Please like Oceanside Parks and Recreation on Facebook to get all the latest activities and program offerings. And again, we always want to support swimming in the coastal community of Oceanside, teach kids to swim in our town, our city pools, and then that'll make them safe swimmers out in our ocean and harbor. I'd also like to introduce David and Ann Palmatier. They are members, actually on the board of directors of the Friends of Oceanside Parks, and they have a quick announcement about an upcoming event in June.
Thank you, Eileen. I'm going to piggyback off on her, and I'd like to especially, first of all, invite the honorable members of Oceanside City Council, the city manager, city attorney, and also city clerk, the audience guests, and KOCT viewers to the first of 9 musical events that will be co-sponsoring the Friends and the City of Oceanside. Our first event will be October 20th, June 20th, wow. Next month, June 20th, and it's going to be a Friday evening. It's going to be at Rancho Del Oro Park. The entertainment starts at 5. I recommend you try to get there as early as you can. Last year we actually had people showing up at the park as early as 10 o'clock in the morning to grab their spots. We are featuring the Mardells, which is a fantastic band. It's going to be a great evening. We're going to have some various food vendors that will be there. We plan to have a bounce house for the children and a gymnast from the Park and Recreation Department department that'll be working with some of the youth as far as doing some gymnastics. It's just going to be a great, great day in Oceanside, and that'll be the first of 9 musical events. Please come. You'll be receiving information on other activities that we're going to be sponsoring this summer. It's going to be a great summer in 2014 here in Oceanside. Great place to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to add something to that. This lovely couple had some students here last summer. A couple of 164 French students from France all over. They came to Oceanside and stayed here with this couple. They showed them around. They enjoyed it enough that 160s turned into 300 this summer. So we have a good contacts there. We get them from Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, and last summer, the first time ever, we had a group here from mainland China. They're generally here to learn English and learn about America. And we've really enjoyed your involvement with the French students here. They were wonderful. And one of them came back and he'd made his own magazine and photo op for us all over Southern California on the tour, including Oceanside. So he was very talented, and I think it's outstanding that we have a culture that spreads the world from Oceanside. So I want to thank you for that also, and you did it very good, and you brought them out to the concerts at the park. Thank you all. Let's hear for this wonderful group here, too. Thank you. Hope to see you all.
Fireworks, just save the date.
You'll save the date.
Okay, folks. Also, thank you again to the City Council, Mayor, City Manager. Please mark your calendars for the city's 126th anniversary fireworks, which will be held on Thursday, July 3rd at Rancho Del Oro Drive. So we hope to see you out there from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. on Thursday, July 3rd. Mark your calendar. We'll see you then. Thank you.
It was so popular, thanks to Councilman Sullivan and the rest of the council. It was so popular, and the 3rd, all the catering trucks ran out of food. It's pretty amazing, and we had a great time. That's it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Clerk, can we do, excuse me, let's do the closed session report. Can you, Mr. City Attorney?
Sure. The City Council met in closed session to discuss item 1 on the agenda, conference of labor negotiator on the status of negotiations involving the management employees of the City of Oceanside, the Western Council of Engineers, Oceanside Police Officers Association non-sworn. There is no action to report on that item. Council also met on item 2, conference with real estate negotiator. Item 2A is the portion of Rancho Del Oro Drive right-of-way north of State Route 78, as well as the Haymar Drive right-of-way south of 78 west of College Boulevard, and a portion of the Airport Road right-of-way south of 76. Negotiating parties City of Oceanside and BGT Media, CBS Outdoor, and Lamar Outdoor Advertising. Under negotiations are terms and price for the use of the real property. There's no action to report on item 2A. Item 2B, real estate negotiation involving the city-owned El Cor Zone parcel. Negotiating party City of Oceanside and Ivy Ranch Development Company. Under negotiations are price and terms for the exchange of real property. Again, no action to report on item 2B. There was no meeting on item 2C. Item 3, conference of legal counsel on existing litigation in the matter of Dunnex, Cavalier Mobile Estates versus City, and Miller versus City. And both those items were discussed, but there's no action to report.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. And Mr. Clerk, item number 2, public communication off agenda, please.
Yes, we have a number of members of the public wishing to speak on off-agenda items. First, we have Kirby Chalman.
All right, something we all want to hear about.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council.
Adjust the mic, we can't hear you real well, thank you.
Good.
That's good.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Kirby Chalman, and on behalf of the Del Mar Fairgrounds, I'd like to invite the City of Oceanside to the 2014 San Diego County Fair. The theme this year is the Fab Fair, so it's all about the Beatles, as we'll be celebrating their 50th anniversary, as well as the British invasion, so there's going to be lots of color, music, and flair at this year's San Diego County Fair. We also have some great ways to save this year. We have the Best Pass Ever, which is back again. That's $24 for 24 days. Honorable Mayor, I'm sure you're going more than once, so you're going to be saving $4 on your second visit with that Best Pass Ever. We also have the Albertsons $4 days, which is opening day, June 7th and also June 11th. And our Kids Days, or Children Under are free, June 24th and July 1st. Our Toyota Summer Concert Series has some great acts this year. For those in the country, we have Hunter Hayes and Darius Rucker. We have comedian Jeff Dunham coming back. And we also have the Fab Four Tribute Band, which is one of the best Beatles tribute bands, coming June 26th, which is sure to be lots of fun. We also have the Family Funville this year, where we're kind of renovating the Kiddieland. Normally it was just kid rides and games. Now we have lots of non-profits and organizations, making it more of a family-oriented area, as well as the games and rides will be there as well. So just another addition to this year's fair. We also have festivals at the fair. The first festival and the headlining festival is the San Diego International Beer Festival. It's over 200 breweries from all around the world, 400 different beers on tap. As 3 days, Friday, June 20th through Sunday, June 22nd. There's 2 sessions on each day, so be sure to get your ticket early. There's some pictures from last year. We also have the Toast of the Coast Wine Competition and Festival. That is June 14th in our fabulous Flower Garden. That's all local wineries and wineries from across the border, so it's kind of a unique flair of wineries there. And finally, we have the Big Bite Bacon Fest, which is back again. Last year it was a great success. That's on July 5th. Anything bacon, from donuts, ice cream, appetizers, anything you can think of there is going to be there.
I got it.
Our contests and exhibits are back again. They're going to be geared towards that Fab Fair theme, and that's all local talent, from fine art to photography to film. It's all going to be there. Our animals and agriculture will be back. We have the Flower Garden, which is looking great. It's almost completed. Swifty Swine Pig Racing will be back, and the largest pig will be back. We also have a competition to win a trip to Liverpool to have a Beatles-esque kind of vacation for 2, and that is running on sdfair.com. You can apply for that. And we've also been blessed to have over 1 million visitors for the past 15 years. So this year we're going to celebrate one lucky guest who happens to be the 1,000th visitor, and we're going to give them a lifetime pass as well as concert tickets and a couple of more fun gifts. And we're running Saturday, June 7th through Sunday, July 6th. We are closed the first 2 Monday and Tuesdays, so keep that in mind, and we're closed the following Mondays. And that is it, and we'll see you guys this summer at the San Diego County Fair. Please visit sdfair.com for more information, and we'll see you guys there. Thank you.
How about the coaster train going down? Well, you might mention that. A lot of people want to take it because
you have the Fair Tripper ticket, so that is $15, and that is round-trip admission on the Coaster, Breeze, or Sprinter, so that's great for people living in the North County, and that takes you right to the West Gate entrance of the fairgrounds, and that gets you in as well. So for $15, you get a fair ticket and a round-trip ticket home, and so it's one of our best discounts and deals, thanks to NCTD on that one.
Thank you on that. I think people will use it because of the parking.
Yep, you don't have to deal with parking, no traffic, and you get dropped off right at the Solana Beach station, hop on the shuttle, and it takes you right to the fair.
Thank you very much for waiting. I appreciate it.
Yep, see you guys this summer.
Next we have Dolores Wiener.
Hi, my name is Dolores Wiener, and I'm a resident of Oceanside. I'm here on behalf of the little doggies, little puppies. I attend a 12-step program at 1906 Oceanside Boulevard, Suite D. And it's next door to a retail puppy shop where various meetings are held 7 days a week. These meetings are of vital importance for the recovery of its members. The barking and howling and yelping and squealing of these puppies had a very negative effect and resulted in the loss of attendance. I've owned puppies most of my life, most of my adult life, and I'm familiar with their various barking and howling, and when they're hungry or when they just want to go out, or when they're in pain. And one evening, a puppy was obviously in some distress, and we couldn't even have a meeting that evening, and we had no number to call, no way to help this little puppy. The place is unsupervised after 5 all evening, so if there is a puppy in trouble, there's nobody there to help that puppy. And, you know, aside from that, the effect that it's having on conducting our meetings, which is, like I say, of vital importance to us, is pretty devastating. So if you can do something about it, we really appreciate it. And I also am familiar with some of the pictures and movies that I've seen that show the really sad ways that these parent puppies are treated in order to provide these retail stores with the puppies. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Next, we have Leslie Davies.
Councilman Kern, recently you sent out a plea asking for contributions. You claim that Oceanside Puppy is a legitimate business that is contributing to our local economy, but extremists want to shut them down. In fact, Oceanside Puppy is costing our taxpayers money. We have seen Oceanside puppies in our shelters and now on Craigslist. There is a reason why the city of San Diego banned this store from operating there. Furthermore, Oceanside Puppy does not obtain any of their puppies from local breeders, which would then put money back into our economy. Instead, Mr. Salinas buys his puppies from out-of-state puppy mills located 1,500 miles from here. Contrary to what you may think, I don't want to close down a legitimate business. I would love to have a puppy store in Oceanside. I just don't want one that sells puppies who are raised in horrific conditions, and neither does our community. Mr. Salinas is proud of the fact that he buys puppies from mills that are cited with indirect violations such as one would only have enough room to sit, lie down, and turn around. That's 37 puppies housed in one area, and only one would have enough. That's an indirect violation. He's very proud of that. He lies to his customers through omission, and I have proof of this. Every time he sells a puppy to some unsuspecting customer, he is committing consumer fraud, and he knows it. Our local Humane Society offered to provide Mr. Salinas with free puppies that he could sell for whatever price he wanted. He declined this generous offer. However, other puppy stores, such as the one in Beverly Hills, have switched to this model, and they are very successful. It's a win-win situation for both the store and our community. You call the people who are protesting this store extremist, and how dare you? I'm a teacher. I have never protested any other store in my entire life, and I am not a member of PETA, and I wish Mr. Salinas would stop telling people I am. He is lying, and he knows it. Councilman Kern and Councilman Saline, shame on you for allowing a business which was kicked out of San Diego to come here and exploit our troops. Most of Mr. Salinas' customers are military, and he charges anywhere from 21 to 31%. He is exploiting our troops. People don't realize that their 2,000 puppy is really going to cost them more like $4,000 to $5,000 when it is paid off. Councilman Kern and Councilman Saline, this business is toxic. And is only hurting Oceanside. When we go to the polls in November, we will remember who is responsible for allowing the store into our community. I would like to thank Mayor Woods and Councilman Sanchez for not supporting this store and doing the right thing. Thank you.
Next, we have Raymond Ream.
Hi, thanks for letting me speak. I am actually speaking about the same thing. This is I want to direct this more to everybody. I'm a homeowner, self-employed. I've lived in Oceanside the majority of my life, and I love our city. I think some of the issues that we need to look at in regards to stores like this and businesses like this is what that reflects on our city and our culture and our values. I did a little bit of research and digging around just because I like to see things for myself. I found that online, at least on the old San Diego site where his company was banned from, there was a lot of arguments with customers, name calling, a lot of verbal, a lot of rhetoric going back that was just unprofessional. When I think about companies that I want to represent our city, And going forward, I want something that reflects the culture of our city, our forward thinking. In regards to my personal experience, I did stop by the store to check it out. I don't think that it looked any different than any other pet store other than maybe the dogs being in what seemed like aquariums. And you see the little puppies, and it does make you sad. I mean, they're cute. You walk in and you feel really happy, but then when you walk away, you get this twinge of guilt, you know, and you know it's because you want to take them all home. You don't want to leave them there. And that's kind of the feeling that you get in a pet store like that. And so I think as we go forward, we need to really see how companies reflect on our city and what we're doing to think forward and push forward. And when we have companies where business owners are, you know, causing protests in the streets on our main corridors, you know, this is a reflection of us. And I don't really have much more to say, but I think we should all think about that when we're talking about this company. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further public on this item.
Thank you very much. Let me ask the city manager just 1 second. Check and see by staff purposes who are here, getting feedback. Was 18, item 18, please?
Yes. Item number 18 is adoption of a resolution authorizing the payment of prevailing wages and approval of a 2-year maintenance services agreement in the amount of $1,017,235 with Executive Landscape Incorporated of Fallbrook for the landscape maintenance and upkeep of the city's 11 landscape maintenance assessment districts, and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreement.
Doug, good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Doug Eddow, Real Estate Manager, City of Oceanside. This item is needed because the current contract for landscape maintenance is expiring June 30th, 2014. Staff went out to bid. Executive was chosen not because they were the lowest bidder, that was just one consideration, but they have provided ample service and good customer relations over the actually past 10 years. So even though they were slightly higher, they were chosen. The reason that this item needs a resolution for prevailing wage is, I believe it's, since the city is a charter city, it requires authorization from council to pay prevailing wage. This was bidded out in that fashion on an RFP because of the potential for, I believe, Senate Bill 7, which says that cities with charters do not pay prevailing wage for contracts after 2015. They could be subject to loss of funding from the state. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Can you have a seat sidebar, please, while we do this? Thank you.
No public on this item.
Back to council, deputy mayor, please.
Move approval.
I'll second. Anybody? Mr. Councilmember Feline, please.
Yeah, I want to follow up on some of the questions I had regarding the issue of the prevailing wage. As I understood, all the bids came in above the prevailing wage for this classification of work. So if we're paying above the prevailing wage anyway, why do we have to adopt a resolution regarding prevailing wage?
Maybe I could take that, Councilmember Feline. This relates back to SB 7. As you're aware, SB 7 deprives charter cities of state funding for construction projects if we have a charter provision or an ordinance that prohibits the payment of prevailing wage, or we've awarded contracts beginning January 1 of 15 without specifically requiring the payment of prevailing wages. As the council is aware, we're challenging that Senate bill in court. And though we are working as quickly as possible, we're not certain that we're going to be able to get a judgment in our favor prior to January 1 of 15. And so this was seen as a precaution. The charter arguably allows us to pay, it does allow us to pay prevailing wages on a case-by-case basis. So we think there's a good argument that we will not be subject to the loss of state funding just by virtue of the language in the charter. But we could be subject to a loss of state funding if we award a contract that is subject to SB 7 without specifically requiring the payment of prevailing wages. In this case, it doesn't make a difference because everyone who responded, I understand, is paying above prevailing wage. So it's really a technicality to make sure that the state could not use this contract as the basis for withholding state funding in the event that the lawsuit is not successful.
Thank you.
Councilman Kern, sorry.
Thank you. So I think we will prevail on SB 7, you know, with the Vista decision. I think that comes in. So on this contract here, next time around, it's going to be basically the same because they're paying above prevailing wage anyway. I mean, so it's just the semantics of this particular item that we're talking about because it's in there, but it really makes no difference in the actual cost of the contract. So this was the lowest responsible bidder. There were lower bidders, but this is staff deems as the lowest responsible bidder, which is what we were after when we passed the charter. So I think that's something that, you know, the public needs to know.
Thank you. My comments on this is that this city went through a general law city for 125 years with no problem. We switched to a charter city basically over prevailing wage. And since that charter has been implemented in our city, a lot of things have taken place and they're not very positive. And then the governor comes back and says, if you have a charter city, you have to have prevailing wage in it, and or you lose state money. We're doing this today because if we don't, we have a chance of losing any and all state funding if we don't do it. So all the reasons for the original charter city are kind of in limbo at best. Quite frankly, some of us didn't want to switch to a charter city, but the public voted for it with the understanding it would be less involved with the state representing ourselves, but what we now have is a catch-22, that we have a potential losing all state funding because of a prevailing wage issue. We're going to fight it, or the majority wishes to fight it in court. They may win. If we lose, we'll have a real problem. Anyhow, that's my concerns on this. Please vote.
Motion approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Item 19, when you get a chance, please.
Yes, item number 19 is approval of a professional services agreement with Tetra Tech of Oceanside in the amount of $372,792 for design services for the La Salina wastewater treatment plant minor upgrades project, and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreement.
Director Dale, welcome. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to be introducing Jason Dafford, our Water Utilities Division Manager, who will be conducting the presentation today. We will both be available at sidebar for questions after the presentation.
Honorable Mayor and council members, staff is recommending approval of a professional service agreement with Tetra Tech for the design service of minor improvements at the La Salina wastewater treatment plant. Back on March 26, we brought to council two options for replacement of La Salina plant. Council directed staff at that time to perform further evaluations, and we will be presenting those evaluations later this year, which include replacement of the existing plant with a new pump station, possibility for a new MBR plant, or rehabilitation of the entire existing facility. Any of these proposed options will take a minimum of 3 to 5 years to design and construct. Therefore, the plant requires some minor improvements in order to maintain the current operations. The near-term needs consist of primary clarifier repairs, south secondary repairs, blower repairs, miscellaneous pump repairs, and mechanical repairs. These repairs are intended to extend the useful life of the facility until such time as a new facility can be constructed. These repairs are required regardless of the future option that the council may choose. Tetra Tech will work closely with staff to determine the minimum repairs necessary, and only those repairs will
will move forward. The contract consists of design services to prepare plans and specifications for bidding. Tetra Tech will also provide oversight during the construction of those improvements. I will be at sidebar for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any public?
No public on this item.
Thank you. Back to the council. Deputy Mayor, please.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you. I have no other comments, so please vote.
Motion approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Before you wander off, item number 27.
Item number 27 is approval of a franchise provider's annual request for consumer price index adjustment to the contractor compensation under the city's solid waste service contract with Waste Management of California, adoption of a resolution establishing maximum rates for the collection of waste matter within the city of Oceanside by adjusting the current solid waste rates by an amount not to exceed 1.46%, which will result in an increase of 26 cents for the basic residential solid waste and recycling rate, or a maximum of 1.46% to all the rates for services provided under the solid waste contract, and changing commercial cart service from trash only to trash and recycling in an amount not to exceed $36.88 for minimum service levels, and direction of staff to implement the user rate and franchise provider.
What was that again?
As mayor, I'll open this public hearing and also ask for disclosures. I'll start with you.
Just staff.
None.
Staff.
Staff, and I saw this presentation at the Utilities Commission meeting.
Staff only.
Mr. Clerk, correspondence or petitions?
None.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Good evening,
Director
Mayor.
Dale, welcome back. Long time no see.
It's been a long time. Again, I'm going to be introducing my staff that will be doing the presentation this evening. This presentation will be done by Colleen Foster, who's a management analyst in the Water Utilities Department. I'll be available at sidebar. John McKelvey, management analyst, will also be available for questions.
Thank you
So I'm
very
going to
much.
turn it over to Colleen.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
We have before you here the annual rate adjustment through Waste Management for the Consumer Price Index. Before we get started with this year's rate adjustment request, I'd like to go over a little bit of background in regards to our current solid waste franchise agreement with Waste Management of California and our previous agreement with Waste Management. Our current agreement was signed on October 20th of 2010. The previous agreement provided a benchmarking process that was conducted in 2005 and 2008. This benchmarking process compared our rates to other cities in San Diego County and guaranteed us the third lowest rates within the county. The rate savings resulted from this benchmarking process established a revenue source that established the Rate Stabilization Fund. The Rate Stabilization Fund has historically offset annual rate increases, even though revenue for this fund has decreased dramatically since the establishment of the new contract in 2010. The new contract, which was signed in 2010, eliminated the benchmarking process but provided an annual adjustment process for waste management that allowed for an adjustment for the Consumer Price Index. In 2013, the Rate Stabilization Fund supported the annual rate increase for the Consumer Price Index of 1.74% by supplementing the rate increase to the public by 0.87%. So as mentioned, previous policy decisions by City Council regarding the annual CPI rate adjustments for waste management has allowed the Rate Stabilization Fund to support the rate adjustments by at minimum 50%. Our current contract, as mentioned previously, provides for an automatic fee increase based on the annual Consumer Price Index, which is effective July 1st of each year. In accordance with our current contract, Waste Management is entitled to a 1.46% CPI adjustment for fiscal 2014 and 2015 rates. These rates apply to both residential and commercial customers alike. This rate presentation, as mentioned by Councilmember Esther Sanchez, was presented at the Water Utilities Commission. Several options for rate adjustments were discussed on how to apply this rate adjustment to the public and whether the rate stabilization fund would continue to be used. Option A that was discussed describes here before you our standard residential rate. The standard residential service for solid waste and recycling provides 196 gallon or 164 gallon trash cart, up to 2 96 gallon recycle carts, and up to 2 96 gallon green waste carts. That is your standard residential rate. Before you have an example of how that rate is broken down. If we were to apply the 1.46% rate increase and have 50% of that rate increase covered by the rate stabilization fund, the price increase to the customer at the end of the day would equal a 13-cent increase if this rate was to be approved by City Council and established and effective July 1st. Another option at the Utilities Commission was discussed, and that was option B. That was a discussion in regards to whether we would pass on the full cost of the increase to the customer, since the rate stabilization fund is no longer taking increase in revenue due to the elimination of the benchmarking process. So this is just an example of what that impact would be to the customer, which would be 26 cents if that was recommended. This is a side-by-side table showing the different options that have been discussed in regards to this annual rate adjustment. The previous rate, our current rate, is $19.87 for standard residential rate. Again, this is just your standard example. This rate adjustment does apply to all commercial and residential rates. Our current rate is $19.87 for residential service. The rate with a 50% cost recovery would be $20 to the resident. So that is a 13-cent increase. Again, option B talks about whether it would be a 100% increase, which would then entail a 26-cent increase for the standard residential rate. In addition to the annual rate adjustment that Waste Management has requested, there is a new service that is currently being proposed and included within our new rate sheet. This service would provide for an enhanced commercial can service. Essentially, smaller businesses today have the option for commercial can service. That would be the minimum level of service they need to obtain. That minimum level of service would include 2 96-gallon trash carts, and then they would have to pay additional fees to subscribe to recycling carts. So instead of, making that more difficult, having too many carts on site, we went ahead and enhanced the service. So the commercial can service would actually now include 1 96-gallon trash cart and 1 96-gallon recycling cart. This new service meets our state mandates as well as our zero waste plan standards, and also would be an efficiency for businesses to ensure that they have the opportunity to recycle as well as utilize our waste system. As discussed at the Water Utilities Commission and before you in this presentation, there have been two options that have been discussed. Taking the 1.46% rate adjustment, applying 50% of that to the customer, and then 50% of that would be subsidized by the rate stabilization fund. That would be in line with policy, previous policy. In addition, 100% fee increase to the customer has been discussed. Staff is recommending that City Council consider and provide a recommendation to proceed with actually option A. Staff's recommendation is to continue with previous policy decision to increase the rate to the ratepayer by 50% and allow 50% of the rate increase to be covered by the rate stabilization fund. And that is the end of my presentations. I will be available for questions in the sidebar.
Thank you. See the sidebar, please. Public.
Yeah, this is a public hearing item. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item may come forward to address the council for 3 minutes.
Mayor, Council, Jimmy Knott, 127 Cherry Lane. Also, I need to disclose, I sit on the Utilities Commission, Vice Chair. I'm not speaking for the Commission, but I will take and speak for myself and bring up a couple of issues. With the cart service and mixing the waste, we were on one of the tours exposed to some issues of that mixed waste. The acceptance by foreign recyclers, and whereas they would have the possibility of refusing an entire shipload of recycled cardboard if there is even minor mixed food waste into the cardboard. That is one issue that was brought to our attention. Another issue of styrofoam not being able to be totally recycled. That was into debate between our staff and their staff. A couple other issues that were brought up between the public that they had is by our frail seniors, disabled, and young youth. And that is collapsing a cardboard, especially the large cardboard boxes. And the question is should we take and have some things, returning those to vendors to take and have them collapse them, or should there be some form of way for the waste management to do it, or who should actually take care of that? And that's something that I guess the Commission is going to have to take care of and to discuss. And then there's the vendor acceptance of medication and excessive medical waste or, surplus waste. Waste Management said that they will provide information to the Commission on that. We also explored things like to improve our communications with Waste Management because they have issues of low-hanging wires where it was actually causing problems with their trucks. That was not disclosed to a lot of our staff that we found out. And they will take and provide that information to our staff in the future, and also some traffic concerns. So I just want to take and update you on that. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item may come forward at this time. At this time, I see no one right now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'll go ahead and close this public hearing and come back to the council. Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was at the presentation, and we did ask a whole lot of questions, and I got the sense that the members supported staff's recommendations, which was option A. I'm going to go ahead and move approval of that. I know the other one question I asked was, well, couldn't cover the whole entire cost, which is 26 cents, and I believe the response was, well, yes. But then it would probably deplete our stabilization fund much quicker. So it's still a fantastic, great service that we're providing to our residents at a cost that is 13 cents. That's a great deal. So I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to move approval, and I think we're doing a good job. Thanks.
Do we need to name A or B for you?
I said option A.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Councilmember Feller, please.
Thank you. You had a slide up there that said that decreased. Can you tell me why it decreased?
You need your mic on.
There wasn't a decrease in the rate. Essentially, we were talking about the rate stabilization fund decreasing because the benchmarking process, the last benchmarking process, was conducted in 2008, so we no longer have that process. That process provided for some extra revenue to go into a rate stabilization fund. With the new contract, we set up the CPI adjustment, and the new contracts guarantees a competitive rate in the county. So there isn't a decrease in the rate. I believe in the red we were talking about 13 cents coming out of the rate stabilization fund and then a 13-cent increase to the public. And that would be the option A, 50% rate share.
So I guess what's left in rate stabilization? And how much, the other question I have while you're looking is how much how much money does this amount to yearly?
The amount in the rate stabilization fund as of today is approximately $5.9 million, and we have a policy to keep that fund at approximately $6 million, although we haven't set a lower and an upper limit for that fund. There's approximately $900,000 or so that will be deposited into that fund in the upcoming fiscal year, which is a decrease of about $200,000 over the previous fiscal year. So it is decreasing, and we are dipping into it. We're going to go into a more formal analysis in the next few months as we analyze other rates as well. So we'll look at that again.
Well, we could also discontinue the franchise fee, and that would solve the need for raising the rates at all. So anyway, I'm going to second the motion.
Councilmember Kern, please.
Thank you. I think to tag on to what Councilmember Feller was saying, the rate stabilization fund, projected going out, is there a point in time that that fund will no longer have any money in it? Is that what we're saying? It's a certain point in time it's going to be fully depleted.
There will be a point in time if the direction from council is to continue subsidizing CPI increases, and we won't know when that is because we can't predict what the CPI increase will be in the future. But at some point in the future, yes, it would be depleted.
Now, this sits in an interest-bearing account someplace in finance. They have it set aside and they're collecting interest on it. I'm just wondering, you know, since the difference is so small that option B may be the better option since it's just 26 cents, and then hold the money and collect interest, so when we get the big jump in CPI, that we can come back and actually stabilize the rate increase when we get a big hit. My fear is that we keep doing this every year, and then suddenly we get a big CPI increase, and we won't be able to stabilize it at all because there's no money left. Now, it sounds like we have plenty of money this time, and we're probably okay for the next couple of years, but eventually that's going to run out, and those years where we have these minimal rate increases, I don't know if it's really worth it to stabilize it at all if we can keep the money in the account to collect interest for later on. So why did staff recommend A? Just because that's past policy, or do you guys do a financial, just my thinking, and why is it different than yours?
Yes, that's been past policy, and certainly that can be changed moving forward. We have an established policy on how the rate stabilization will be spent down, so that's certainly something we could work on in the future, but it has been past practice to subsidize 50% under this new contract.
Well, and I'll support the motion this time around. I mean, it's a very small amount, but I just wonder in out years that we start thinking about how we hold on to this to truly stabilize the rates in fear of getting a big CPI increase later on, which with the recovery happening, what eventually is going to happen probably in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to have a CPI increase in 1 year that's going to be about 2 or 3%. You know, if you look at trend lines over a period of time, you will get that. So I think that's something we need to think about. But this one here is so minimal. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I just wanted to say that was the point that it's only costing $900,000. We have $1.7 million that could always take over if we needed to. But the way they worded it and talked about it as the staff presented it, they're going to work on the solution. So I would.
That's fine. I just want to.
I don't want to pay.
As we go forward, we really do want to keep that rate as stable and as low as possible for our ratepayers. And so, like you said, later on, if we start thinking, okay, let's use the franchise fee as rate stabilization, we can. So, that's fine. I just wanted to have staff think about that as we go out. And then the other one is the recycling cart for businesses, the second cart. We're charging them for a second recycling cart, and wouldn't we encourage them to get a second recycling cart? I mean, if they warrant one, because we want them to recycle?
Well, essentially we do want them to recycle. It matches our state mandate for mandatory commercial recycling and our zero waste plan. But one of the issues has been that the current system is at a minimum level. Businesses are required to obtain the commercial can service. and then get an additional recycling cart. And the minimum commercial clan, they're required to get 2 96-gallon trash carts, and then they get a third recycling. Most small businesses do not want that much waste capacity, and so it's actually an efficiency. So rather than paying for 3 carts to be delivered and to be serviced at your business, you now have the option to get 1 96-gallon trash and 1 96-gallon recycling. So now they have the ability to recycle and dispose of materials at an easier level.
Well, I'm just thinking of some businesses that have a lot of cardboard waste, a lot of recycling waste, a lot of packaging waste. How would that be approached?
In that situation, minimum cart service would not be appropriate, so minimum service would most likely be a 3-yard waste dumpster and a 3-yard recycled dumpster. So this service is only applicable, generally you're talking your small tax office, your small businesses that aren't generating a lot of materials, but are required to have some level of service.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Dunn.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Feline, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, if the figure was missed going back and forth, or if it was said, I missed it. What was the cost of the 50% subsidy, the total dollar amount?
$200,000.
But no, I mean, out of the rate stabilization fund, I'm saying we have 5.9 million in it. We expect 600,000 in income, and the outgo of 50% is going to total what?
Oh, I'm sorry. We did have that in an earlier version of the staff report. The difference between 100% subsidy, 100% consumer absorption versus 50% is about $300,000 a year.
Okay, so I mean, so our subsidy out of the rate stabilization fund is going to be roughly $300,000, since I assume 50% on the first end is the same as 50% on the other side. And so at least for this year, then, at the staff recommendation of the 50% subsidy, we should actually have an increase in the rate stabilization fund, then I assume roughly $300,000?
Not exactly, because as you can see on this slide, the left side, the negative 13, what that reflects is we're not changing the contract management portion that goes to pay for the programs that Colleen administers. We're not changing the stormwater portion, but we are reducing what is going, actually we're taking money out of the rate stabilization fund to subsidize. If council were to select option B, the 100% subsidy, there'd be and that zero impact to the rate stabilization fund, we would hold the line. This way, it's actually drawing it down.
By the 300,000?
In this case, 13 cents. Depending on the rate level, it's going to be a different amount.
Okay. So then we're drawing down 300,000 out of roughly $6 million then. So then I would think we would have a few years to work out what long-term plan we want to use for the on how to use this fund, and what are the sources of income we might want to put into it. So it seems that option A would work, and that's what the Utility Commission recommended. Okay. So sounds like a winner to me. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. I was at the Utility Commission's hearing on this issue as well, and there was a lot of discussion about it and some confusion. I think the basis of confusion, and by the way, I support the staff's recommendation, not for the same reason staff supports it. I support it because it's not much money. But what you are doing is you're using one-time money to buy down an ongoing cost. So there is a day of reckoning if you keep doing that. That's going to be problematic for you. And I'd suggest that sometime during the next year that we spend some time talking about how we want to deal with this on an ongoing basis. And that's been recommended here as well. So I think that we're fine for the time being, and we're fine for the foreseeable future. But when this rate stabilization fund was set up, I was here when it was set up. It was set up for large increases, and it was to offset that cost for like a year. So you could say divide a 6% increase up into 3 years or 2 years, and the impact wouldn't be as great in 1 year. But what we're offsetting now will eventually become a cost as the rate stabilization fund is depleted. Then we're going to end up, and that's not a huge amount, 0.7%, that we'll have to deal with on top of some other rate increase that occurs at that time. But I think we're fine for now, but we do need to resolve this during the next year so that everybody understands it. And we come back next time, not just the 13 cents, but what is the total dollar amount that we're talking about, so that we're clear what we're reducing our rate stabilization fund by, and it's either ongoing or it's one time. Thanks.
Thank you. My question to you, staff, option A and B, your recommendation and why, if you don't mind.
Our recommendation is option A, which is the 50% subsidy with the rate stabilization funds, and that would allow staff time to look at the rates in the upcoming year, given the budget being adopted soon, and come up with a recommended strategy for that long term.
In the past, you're fairly new, but somebody might answer. In the past, we had rate stabilization for water. I think we ran out after a few years. Is that something that...
During my time here, we have not dipped into rate stabilization for any of the increases. However, it is a fully funded fund, like this one is.
Thank you very much. With that, please vote.
Motion approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Give me a second. Item number 28 is up next.
This is introduction of an ordinance amending Articles 33A and 33B of the zoning ordinance, Article 33C of the downtown zoning ordinance pertaining to signage, and adoption of a resolution approving the local coastal program amendments, incorporating modifications suggested by the California Coastal Commission, regulating the use, placement, and design of signs on land both outside and inside the downtown area.
Thank you very much. And I will open this public hearing, ask for disclosures. I'll start with you, Jack.
I have had no contact since the last time I heard this.
Yeah, I mean, public and staff over a long period.
Staff.
Well, I attended the Coastal Commission hearing, and I also spoke with coastal staff.
Public staff, like Councilmember Felinas, this has been an ongoing process, and hopefully, John, you're going to bring us home.
Mr. Clerk, correspondence petition?
No.
Thank you very much. And John, thank you very much for being here. Sorry we're keeping you late.
Thank you, Mayor Wood, members of the City Council and Community Development Commission, Mr. Jeffs and Mr. Mullen. I'm John Helmer, a consultant serving as the city's downtown area manager. The city's sign ordinance is contained in Article 33 of the city's zoning ordinance and is divided into 3 parts. Article 33A covers privately held property within the entire city, both within and outside the coastal zone, except for the downtown area. Article 33B covers publicly held land within that same area, and Article 33C covers the downtown area, which of course is the former redevelopment project area. To illustrate where these areas are and the areas affected by your deliberations today, we've prepared this map in front of you. The red dotted line shows the coastal zone, which runs the entire width of the city of Oceanside. It generally runs parallel and slightly east of Coast Highway, although it does extend inland, encompassing the watersheds of the San Luis Rey River on the left side of the screen, parts of the watershed of Loma Alta Creek in the center of the screen, and parts of Buena Vista Lagoon on the right side of your screen there. The green area there is the downtown area. As you can see, it is located almost entirely within the coastal zone. The City Council and Community Development Commission approved various sections of Articles 33A, B, and C, and related local coastal program amendments at public hearings in April and October of 2012. These were sent to the Coastal Commission for certification as part of our local coastal program, and in November of 2013, the Coastal Commission conditionally certified the local coastal program amendments with changes to the ordinances with 3 suggested modifications. And these 3 suggestions are: 1 would be prohibit new billboards from being relocated in the coastal zone. 2, require coastal permits within the city's coastal zone for any signs that are not otherwise exempt from a coastal permit. That is our current process anyway. Prohibit new digital display and electronic message signs within the downtown area in the coastal zone. There were no other modifications or changes made to the LCP and the commission. What happens now is that, well, staff, 1, agrees with the suggested modification because we don't believe they materially change the intent or the substance of those ordinances and the LCP amendments already approved by the City Council. After the public hearing today, the City Council and CDC can either accept, reject, or modify these suggested modifications. We will report back to the Coastal Commission the Council's actions, and the Coastal Commission will take that under consideration in their deliberations to finally certify the LCP amendments. Staff recommends that the Council, in fact, accept all these suggested modifications and introduce an ordinance amending the Article 33's A, B, and C, and adopt a resolution amending the LCP as recommended on the board in front of you and in your staff report. So that concludes my presentation, and I'll be at the sideboard if you have any further questions.
Excuse me, I've stayed the sideboard, thank you.
This is a public hearing item. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this item may come forward at this time.
Honorable Mayor, council members, my name is Kim Heim. I live at Main Street, Oceanside, 701 Mission Avenue. As my tenure with Main Street, I had the opportunity to work real closely on developing the sign ordinance, and I'm speaking on behalf of the organization. I really want to recommend to council to adopt the amendments as stated. As John had mentioned, they really do not change the context that we were hoping to accomplish with the sign ordinance. And we believe that it's important to keep moving forward with a sign ordinance that will allow downtown to really take advantage of some of the new technologies and signage that is going to be available for storefronts to use. One of the things that we would like to recommend to council is a direction to staff, because item 3 on the corrections that Coastal had submitted deals with the issue of digital aspects of signs. One of the things that we attempted to do in working with the city on a new sign ordinance was to interface with the industry that produces signs that have advised us that at some point in the future we'll be transitioning from a material of paper to a digital technology someday. And if we don't address in some form or fashion a way to embrace digital technology, whether it's in small form, modest form, or adaptive forms, we're going to limit our ability to really work with the sign industry and some of the newer innovations that are occurring in the next 5 years. So one of the things that we would recommend is, beyond adopting and approving these amendments, would be to direct staff to go back and look at item 3 for a clarification. So we could bring it to council over time, or over to the Coastal Commission over time, and thoughtfully put in front of them content that would address the digital media. And that's my conclusion. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Cherry Lane. Formerly, I sat on the not from the Utilities Commission, on the Telecommunications Committee. And under that, we did some exploration of signage and digital signage. And one thing that came up was information display message boards. And what we came up with and found out that in a lot of the cities around the world, there are information display message boards that are used commonly into a lot of high tourist areas. And the question I have is, what do they actually mean by not allowing digital displays or electronic message boards? What are the size, the dimensions? What are they talking about? Is that going to prohibit any of our businesses from, let's say, putting a sign out in front of their place that could give people direction or possible advertisement for their business in some form of electronic signage? This really would take away from their free speech rights. And this is something that we may want to take and investigate. Also, the other side of the coin is that this would take away from the communication rights from the city to any type of visitors that we would have in the city seeking any type of direction to potentially any type of tourist locations where we may want to take and share, like any events that may be going on. So this is something I think that may need to be a little bit tighter investigated. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item may come forward at this time.
I see none. With that, I'll close the public hearing and come back to the council. Start off with Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we accept the Coastal Commission's modifications, that we introduce the ordinance amending zoning ordinance Articles 33A and 33B of the 1992 zoning ordinance and Article 33C of the downtown zoning ordinance, and that we adopt the resolutions.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Kern.
Oops. All right. I don't think I can support that at this time. I am stuck on item 3. The idea that it's almost to the point that if somebody has a flat screen TV and they put it in their window, that somehow is prohibited because it's electronic. And now with the advancements in technologies, point of sale information, that now they have sandwich board signs out there and they write in chalk, lunch specials and things like that. Within a few years, they'll be able to put flat screens or electronic devices out there that they can program with their phone to change that board. So I think we really need to investigate what it means about that number 3, whether it's a limitation of size or type or how it's progresses. So yeah, I have real qualms about just saying, okay, no electronic signs, and then we get cited or somebody gets cited for putting a flat screen TV in their window. So, John, have you got any comment on that one? I mean, you've been working on this for a while.
Councilmember Kern, members of the City Council and CDC. The Coastal Commission staff informed me, this was sent, by the way, to the Coastal Commission before my time, but the Coastal Commission staff informed me that the reason for them to strike the digital and electronic signs in the downtown ordinance only, by the way, was actually for some of the reasons that you and Mr. Cott have outlined, in that the digital sign provision did not have any dimensional development standards or locational standards articulated in the zoning ordinance itself. It was very wide open, just said digital signs. I might add that Article 33A, in fact, does have development and locational standards for digital signs, and those were not rejected. So the only rejection is the digital signs in the downtown area.
But, yeah, and this is one of the things that, our downtown area, even it's coastal, but it's our urban core. That's where we have a lot of restaurants and a lot of shops and things like that. I can understand it if it's a boardwalk or some other coastal venue, but this encompasses our urban core where we want restaurants and things like that. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can actually accommodate this. I mean, is there size, dimensions, types? I mean, is that what coastal's asking for, that we have to more clearly define what we mean?
Councilmember Kern, that is what the coastal staff indicated to me. I mean, I do not know exactly why those development standards and locational standards were not included in the ordinance. I know that there was lots of discussion at a sign committee, and why those standards were not included, I don't know. But I think that perhaps if the council wants staff to further investigate it, we could look at those same development and locational standards that are in Article 33A and perhaps consider those at a public hearing as part of the...
I think that would be best. I don't want to approve something and then we have to come back and have another bite at this and go through this whole process again and going through those issues. You know, I think we really need to fully develop what we're going to do here. So I just don't want to blanket say, okay, we're going to ban all of these things and then we're stuck and then we're still trying to figure this out 2 years from now. I'm a little, you know, electronics is moving so quickly and how you can have electronic screens that look like paper. You know, the idea of the black print on white background and stuff. So I don't see how that's any different than having a paper sign or a chalkboard out with an A-frame with words on it. So I just don't know if I want to go down that road just yet. So I'll have to think about voting for this. Thanks.
Councilor Fellain, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, my concern on this kind of deals with the same issue that Councilman Kern's alluding to. And for my education here, are we conceding additional authority to the Coastal Commission by agreeing to these requests? Because it sounds like they're asking for more than what their jurisdiction is, and I'd like that explained to me a little better here.
Councilmember Fellain, the Coastal Commission's recommendations only relate to signs that would be within the coastal zone. One of the conditions, if you want to, I don't recall which slide it was, but it outlined that a coastal permit would be required for installation of a sign within the coastal zone. As John indicated, that's already what would have been required. It's just making that explicit. So I don't think you're conceding any additional authority. We already would issue a coastal development permit for a sign within the coastal zone. That type of change isn't really a modification to the status quo.
Okay, I just, for simplicity's sake, like on item 1, prohibit new billboards from being relocated in the coastal zone. Under the existing law, I mean, would they have to do that on a individual item by item basis? And if the Coastal Commission doesn't like that, and we know they don't like it, are we just saving ourselves a lot of trouble by telling people don't even bother with this? And so we're just putting that in writing, or you know, how is what's being tied in with the existing law?
Before we did the sign code update, billboards are already prohibited. As you may recall, we amended the city code so that the council could pursue a limited number of potential digital billboards, but on city property. So I believe the effect of you accepting this would be that you wouldn't be able to place a digital billboard on city property within the coastal zone, but there's no proposal to place any digital billboards on. The RFP did not include any property within the coastal zone, so it wasn't anticipated that any digital billboards would go within the coastal zone.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, maybe tackle a different way here. Are we simply articulating what the Coastal Commission already has the power to do, or are we giving them some additional authority, like on item 3, to, you know, that prevents us from authorizing digital menus and things like this, or is this something they've already established that they don't like in other cities and we're simply acknowledging it?
Okay. Councilmember Fellain, on billboards, the council and CDC already approved a zoning ordinance that prohibited new billboards. The Coastal Commission staff clarification is added the word relocate. So they didn't want existing billboards to be relocated within the coastal zone, and that is the only substantive effect of that change, number 2 up there.
Okay, and like item 3, their issue, which, you know, the most concern is with the electronic signs in our downtown area. I mean, is this something that if we don't pass this ordinance that they're going to review every person who wants to put a sign, and that's within their existing jurisdiction to do it? Or, you know, I mean, that's what I'm trying to get a comfort level here on whether or not this is something that if they've prohibited it, we can't do it anyway, or what flexibility do we have in terms of going back and forth with the Coastal Commission to you know, make our own decisions regarding digital signs within the coastal zone.
Councilmember Feline, I think as Kim suggested, is maybe the council could revisit this digital sign issue. Again, we've already developed digital sign standards that are in that are outside the downtown area. Perhaps we could consider those standards in the downtown as well. But it's the, you know, whatever direction the council is.
Your discussion with the Coastal Commission, are they just not satisfied with the work that we've done in articulating our sign ordinance, so they're basically suggesting just ban it, or are they open to us going back and saying, hey, let's work on some language?
They were only dissatisfied with the fact that there were no development standards nor locational standards of digital signs within the downtown. That is the extent of what they communicated to me.
Okay, so we have a shot then to go back and say, okay, we're willing to address your concern, and let's then, I guess, put some more detail in this?
I think in light of the fact that they did not prohibit digital signs outside of the downtown area in Article 33A, which has locational standards as far as the size of the sign, how much copy, how big the copy is, do they flash, do they not flash, is probably a good indication that they would be, they would accept those same standards in the downtown area as well. That is my perception of that.
Okay, well, why don't we take a stab at that then and see. Now, is that going to be easier to do by approving this or by turning it down?
Well, this is at the pleasure of the council. I'm making a suggestion is you can approve this and take as a second item or as another item to look at is digital signs. Or if you were going to consider some digital sign standards to include, you can modify their suggested modifications. But I believe those would have to be discussed at a public hearing in these quarters here. And we do not have that in front of you today.
Okay, yeah, I would certainly like to see if we can come to some agreement with the Coastal Commission by working with them that would allow the same flexibility we have in the other ordinance. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, you have your light on. Thank you.
I shut it off.
Sorry.
You know, one of the things, just for clarification, could you put the map back up there? This is a good map that shows the coastal zone in the downtown area. What you're talking about is applying the coastal regulations. It says both inside and outside the downtown area. And we have the coastal regulations within the coastal zone anyway, right? Correct. We have, I mean, and to have your ordinance consistent with the coastal zone regulations makes a lot of sense, because you have to do it anyway. So what are we talking about? Just to clarify, because you know, part of downtown's in the coastal zone, part of the downtown area is outside the coastal zone. So we're talking about modifying our downtown regulations. It says in and out of the downtown area. What does that mean?
The ordinance covers both in and out, covers the entire green area.
The entire green area, okay.
The modification, as suggested by the Coastal Commission, is only that part of the green area that is also inside the coastal zone line, the red line there.
And I know I'm kind of Johnny-come-lately to the digital sign stuff, but all of the locations that have been discussed for digital signs are not incorporated in these maps. Right. But this talk about television screens in the windows and that kind of stuff, this coastal regulations every community in the state of California, is it not?
Yes.
So there isn't like anything unique or different here that we're going to come up with that isn't in Manhattan Beach or Huntington Beach or San Diego, anyplace else that's rated. So I don't know where there is some danger for us adopting consistency with the coastal regulations. Although clearly we have to have some clarification as to what those sign standards are that coastal would consider acceptable and those that they don't. Right?
Come back.
Do we have that?
Well, just to add one point, hopefully I don't confuse things, but the standards, I believe, for outside of the coastal zone for digital signs probably wouldn't apply within the coastal zone. Those standards relate to a minimum size of a lot, which is pretty big. I want to say 3 acres. They require a certain proximity to the freeway, which a lot of coastal zone properties are not going to have. So that doesn't mean there couldn't be alternative criteria that you could come up with for coastal zone properties, but I don't think just taking what we have for those areas outside the coastal zone and importing them in is probably going to be the fix.
Yep. Actually, if I could just clarify one thing, Mr. Mullen, is that the digital, I think you're talking about digital billboards. These are talking about digital signs, like signs, for instance, that would be like a menu board where information is displayed digitally that would maybe change on a daily or a weekly basis.
Like the entrance.
We are not, this provision, I believe, because the digital billboards are already prohibited in the coastal zone, and you've already defined those areas on public property. They are not affected by this action by the Coastal Commission, only to the extent that billboards could not be relocated within the coastal zone. But the specific provision the Coastal Commission staff was addressing was digital signs. Again, digital menu boards, digital informational signs, where information is shown digitally rather than in hard copy. So,
Councilmember Feller, please.
So the Regal Theater has digital boards in their window to show what the listing of their movies are, and it fluctuates, it changes. So they're allowed to keep theirs or not, and nobody else can have that. So I'm kind of getting to a point where we probably need to make it a point to figure out what would be acceptable in some form or fashion in the coastal zone. You know, frankly, I think they kind of overstep, and you know, maybe we can do it east of Pacific, or you know, I don't know, something to accentuate what these businesses have downtown. There's 2 or 3 new ones coming right down the pike, and they're out of that coastal zone, the green, and they'll be able to have something that nobody can have in the green. So I'm not trying to discourage us here, but I think any business person would love to be able to have a fancier way of advertising in their window, and to be discouraged by somebody like the Coastal Commission, who frankly is stepping way over bounds, and some of this is wrong. So I don't know how to get to what I'm asking, but I would like to see how we can make it work. You know, it just seems like it would be a better. Maybe there's a certain size or something, and you know, I heard the city manager say we could approve this, but and work on it, or essentially, I think. Maybe he didn't say that at all.
No, I don't know at this point. You know, I thought this was a good idea, Mayor, council members, when it first came up, and probably Councilmember Sanchez knows more about this than I do. But it seems like if if what we're talking about is clarity with regard to what those signs look like, perhaps, and you could address this, City Attorney, we could continue this item and bring that clarity back to you.
Yes, you could continue the item. We may have to renotice it potentially, but you could direct staff to work on design standards for on-site electronic signs, not billboards obviously, and then incorporate that into the LCP and send that back off to the Coastal Commission. That's an option available to you.
And Mr. Jepson, we could work with Mr. Mullen's office on how to do that, the type of noticing that is needed prior to bringing it back to council action. Because this would be a modification, or this would be a modification of the Coastal Commission's suggested modification. That's not a new ordinance, per se. If that's the council's direction.
Thank you.
Frankly, I'd like to see that as opposed to approving it and then them having the big hammer and saying nothing.
Well, if I may please, this is a complicated issue to some extent. As I'm listening to it, I thought it was fairly simple too in the coastal zone, but I must admit when you brought up and people brought up things like the movie theater, digital boards, almost all new hotels have in the lobby or stuff with digital boards. I don't know what they're talking about and if they're a violation or not. I guess my point is, before I make a decision, I'd like a little bit more clarification, and this can come back to us. Like I say, it sounded simple at the beginning. I was going to go along with this motion, just like the city manager indicated. But when I hear gentlemen talking about things that might help in a restaurant or a movie theater or a hotel, those electronic boards are very common in those now. I don't know if that means they have to take them out or not. I don't know that answer, so I'd rather get more information if I may. And so I'd like to see this come back to us. I still have the lights on the board for other people to speak, but I'd like it to come back with a little more clarification. I think that would be helpful to all of us up there to make our decision.
I could just make one clarification. That is that you can certainly give that direction as I indicated before, but just so we're clear, all of the modifications to the sign regulations you previously approved will not be effective until this is sent back to the Coastal Commission and certified. So it's not just some parts of it. None of it would be effective until it's certified by the Coastal Commission.
Thank you. With that, I would say I'd like to see this come back. Mr. Kern, your light's still on, and Deputy Mayor's light's still on. I can feel that this would pass, not pass, here at least 3 of the 2 maybe. So I'd rather see it come back with some clarification. So,
and I guess my concern is the same that Councilmember Feller about, and the concern that you just addressed too, because if you look at, there's a service station along Coast Highway that has an electronic price board. Is that in or out? The idea, I think what we need to do is continue, and if you can contact the Coastal Commission and say, okay, we need clarification what's in and what's out. I think I understand what Coastal Commission is trying to avoid is blight in the coastal area. Glaring signs, digital signs, all those other things. And I applaud them for that. I wouldn't want to see that either. But we do have a unique situation here with us, where we do have our urban business core, which was in the coastal zone. So I think bringing this back and get some clarification from Coastal. Now, I was in a meeting yesterday, and along with the Deputy Mayor and our Planning Director, that the idea that Coastal Commission really wants the cities to handle as much as possible. They really don't want a lot of stuff coming to them. So I think if we can get this settled, and that we can approve these at the local level without people appealing it or not being in compliance, I think that would help businesses later on, and certainly help staff when these things come forward and they want to put in a certain type of digital sign, and staff sitting there saying, well, God, is this in, is this out? Do we approve it? It goes to City Council, gets appealed, and the applicant spends months trying to get it through Coastal. I think we need to do the work now, and so in the future, all these things are settled. So I would really like to see this brought back with some real clarification of what what is in and what is out.
Mr. City Manager, I think you can take the lead on this with your staff and get it back to us. I want more information too, and I don't have a problem voting this to be the same thing as the rest of the state. But I'm starting to get information about signs that I see around town in the downtown area. I don't know if I have to yank them out or what, so if you would take charge and getting it back to us. I know the person you probably should talk to is the deputy mayor. She was on the coastal so long, she probably knows all the details, but I would probably abstain on this vote until I got more information on this. So, and was there something more, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Is it a problem for a continuance, or what do you got going?
Well, first of all, I do want to say that lighting is a significant issue, a coastal issue, and I did get a chance to talk to coastal staff about this, and I thought that their modifications are pretty clear, but I understand that my colleagues here are having a difficult time of it, so I'm fine with continuing it. I do want to say, though, that yesterday, after the Southwell Merchants Association meeting, I ended up going to the Wrench and Rodent Sea Bass Stro Pub, which has no sign, has been open eight months now, best sushi, and standing room only in Southwell. So I don't know how it happens, but it's a pretty happening place. And I think reputations of a business can go out there without any fancy signs. Yes, and they've spent zero money marketing. So, I think that we're getting a little, overly concerned about signs. But certainly, this is an ongoing discussion. But I have to highly recommend the Wrench and Rodent Sea Bass Stro Pub, which, by the way, you'll have to go through Bull Taco to get to. It's connected. You have to, walk through the door, and you can have, tacos, and you can have sushi. Same building, two businesses, great food. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I think we'll move on.
Mr. Mayor.
Have it come back to it. Yes, sir.
Just a point of clarification with the attorney. If we're going to continue this, do we need a vote to continue it to date certain to keep the...
No, I think, Mr. Manager, we're going to have to, it sounds like we're going to need to come up with amendments to what's in front of them right now, so we're probably going to have to renotice it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, well, that was fun. How about item number 30 for Deputy Mayor?
Item number 30 is request by Deputy Mayor Sanchez for a report from Tracy Boland, Economic Development Manager, on new business startups and new commercial activity in Oceanside.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. As Tracy comes forward, the way I want to introduce this is that we did have a workshop on some of our commercially zoned land. We've got some interest by developers to, flip them over to do residential. And one of the things that really concerned me is that one of the consultants that we heard from actually believes that Oceanside doesn't need to have jobs. We should think regionally, that other cities can have jobs. We can be a bedroom community. And I was very concerned about that because, everywhere I go, we need more jobs. That's what I hear from people. And so I went to Tracy and I said, gee, Tracy, is there an interest? Do we have, what's the status of our commercial, of our retail? Is Oceanside getting, some kind of movement that way? And Tracy, it was so exciting to talk to you because of what is happening in Oceanside. And so I asked you, could you share your information with us? And so that's my introduction here. It's really Tracy who has been, working on this. She's got this, vision for Oceanside in terms of, jobs here and economic activity, and so I'll give it to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you for having me here tonight. It's a pretty exciting time in Oceanside. We're seeing quite a ramp up in commercial and industrial activity and building. And I'm just going to go through some pictures, some fun pictures, and show you what's happening here in Oceanside. So some of our recently completed projects, and I'm really starting this from January of 2014. So this is almost 6 months of activity. Kaiser Permanente opened up, 20,000 square foot facility just south of Old Grove Road. Marriott Spring Hill Suites opened in about February of 2014 down here in downtown Oceanside, and right on the corner, that's a 149-room hotel. Beautiful, beautiful views from the hotel to the ocean. Hello Betty Fish House is right on the corner in that hotel, open to the public. Sparsha Pharma is a very exciting company out of India. They chose Oceanside, California as a U.S. headquarters. I'm extremely excited about this company. They're putting a humongous investment into Oceanside and into this building. It's going to take them 2 years to get the FDA approval. And what do they make? They make a pharmaceutical. It's a transdermal patch. And I'm very excited that they're working on one patch. It's a fentanyl patch. It's for pain. They have 5 other patches that they manufacture in India that they're going to bring to America. So their ramp up at Sparsha Pharma is huge, and they're good jobs, they're high-paying jobs, and I'm expecting to see a Sparsha Pharma campus over there in Ocean Ranch in the upcoming 5 years. DeBella Baking is a bakery. They bake biscottis. They were housed in Temecula, their corporate headquarters. They moved the corporate headquarters to Oceanside. They used to bake in New York, and they moved the baking to Oceanside. Why? Because we have perfect weather for baking. I didn't know that until then. The project's under construction in Oceanside. Ali Salamaria is building an 83,000 square foot facility on Rocky Point, right across the street from Kaiser Permanente. They make salami. They're going to manufacture salami here in Oceanside, and they were one of Oprah's favorites in 2013. So we're really excited to have them in town. Now, in the Camino Town and Country Shopping Center, you see some construction going on in front of the Target Center. That's a 1,800 square foot drive-through Starbucks we've all been waiting for, and then a 10,000 square foot commercial building that's supposed to have Elements Day Spa, Habit Burger, and either a Sports Clips or Fantastic Sam's, and then another restaurant. Buffalo Wild Wings is going in right across the street at Vista Way and El Camino Real and El Camino North. They are looking quite finished. They're supposed to be opening about the end of June, early July. So we'll be lining up for hot wings soon. Coastal Academy, they're going to open in September. They're pretty much nearly completed construction. They're just finishing out their internal build-out. That gives our businesses and residents another option for their kids. It's a K-8 school. Mission Avenue improvements, if we walk out our door here and down a couple blocks, it's looking fantastic. We just took a couple pictures this morning of the Thai restaurant's new patio area that they just constructed, I think yesterday.
Rimtalai, yeah.
Rimtalai, yes, thank you. El Corazon, we are looking forward to delivering the 22 multipurpose sports fields sometime in June to Sudbury Development. They will place the grass, and we're going to have tournaments in August 2014 on those fields. Super exciting time over there at El Corazon. Just a few of the new eating and drinking establishments, and I apologize to anybody out there watching if I didn't get your establishment, but the Succulent Cafe, Privateer Pizza, Tapioca Express is over in El Camino North, Zigzag Pizza is in the downtown, and Papaya Bay is over near the police station. New breweries and tap rooms. We are becoming all abuzz with new breweries and tap rooms opening up. Legacy Brewing opened earlier this year in the airport area. Murphy's Law and Brew Pub opened in the downtown and Surfside Tap Room. along with local tap house, which just opened last week, I believe last Thursday or Friday, just in time for the holiday weekend. They are, by the way, local tap house is a restaurant and a brewery. Bagby Beer Company staff has been working really closely with Bagby to get them to the end game. They've been doing some major overhaul on this old car dealership to make this a brewery and a restaurant. And this is a recent photo, so this is about where they are, and we're hoping to see them open before the end of 2014. Chuck's Ale House is supposed to be moving into the old Adventure 16 building, which is at Vista Way and South Coast Highway. And that's going to also be a restaurant and brew house. And then the current businesses that opened the last year, we've gotten our second Ross store and a PetSmart over at Oceanside and 76. Down in the South Coast, Hobby and Toys, and then Live or Live, depends how you want to say it, over there in Artist Alley is a really unique shop that everybody should check out. Walmart Neighborhood Market, I think, has been a great addition to the downtown. I see a lot of locals shopping there for their groceries. I think it's been a hit. And the center looks great now with the painting and renovations that they've done to the striping in the parking lot, etc. Dee Dee's Discount opened just west of I-5 on Mission, and that is a Ross Corporation store, if you don't know. Really great addition to Flags on Mission. Earthgrown Market luckily got relocated in Oceanside. It was a great Oceanside business, and I'm really happy that staff was able to help them locate to close by to where they used to be. Oceanside Broiler opened about 2 weeks ago. It was the old Monterey Bay Cannery. Looks great inside, great facility. Baja Body Athletic Club, very funny. This morning it was featured in the Union Tribune with our own Economic Development Commissioner, Ward O'Doherty. I guess he works out there. It's a great, very different kind of vibe there. They have a sand for their floor. Wow. You should go check it out. We have the Shred International Skate Center that opened up on Coast Highway. They also have a ramp, and they specialize in surf, snow, and ski. Oceanside Boulevard Transit Access and Beautification, very happy. I think this was a project that the EDC took on probably 7 years ago. We were looking at beautifying the entrances into Oceanside, especially in the business parks and into the downtown. This was one of the last entrances into the business park. Beautiful landscaping got installed, meandering sidewalks right around the rail system. So we're excited that had happened. And a few projects and businesses in the pipeline. The beach restrooms, the package is ready to go out to get bids from contractors, and the goal is to start construction on the beach restrooms in September, after Labor Day. So after Labor Day, let's put it that way. Maybe not September, but sometime after Labor Day, September, October. Other projects in the pipeline, Fraser Farms is working on their tenant improvements at Oceanside Boulevard and I-5 in the shopping center, and then Munchie's just signed a lease agreement in El Camino North. And there's other projects that have applications in that I didn't include on the PowerPoint because they may take a while to get in place, but I'm very excited. It's very optimistic out there. We're leasing up on commercial and industrial, and a lot of restaurants moving in, a lot of corporate type businesses as well.
And you just came back from Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just at ICSC, which is the International Council of Shopping Centers, which is the retail show. You need to be out if you want to talk to any hotel, any retail establishment, a lot of brokers there, a lot of developers there. So I did meet with a lot of people, ran from one end of the south, the North Hall, to Central Hall, meeting with folks, and it was a very productive time. If you have any questions,
great
at this time.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
No,
Are there any, I don't see anybody in the audience.
No public
so-
on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, Councilman Kern, your light's on, so I'm here.
Thank you, Tracy. Actually, this presentation came out of something we worked on for quite a long time, and actually it was a response by the realtors asking what's going on. So I came to Tracy and we put this together, and then Councilmember Feline and I gave a presentation in this chamber to 50 realtors. I mean, the place was packed, and they were really excited about what was happening. And then they liked it so much that Tracy and I went out and gave this mainly Tracy gave this presentation to the commercial real estate people at their headquarters over in Vista. So that is something that we've been on the road. I know I've dragged Tracy along to talk to some Chinese investors that were thinking about building a hotel. I don't know where that stands, but there's a lot of interest in Oceanside about doing that. The one thing that I really like to point out is the Sparsha Pharma. At the opening, you have a company that's basically run by people from India, but all their major investors are from Japan. So it was kind of an interesting opening about trying to figure out what people were saying, because you had to switch gears. And then the El Corazon, the topsoil is going in this week. So that is really coming together. If anybody has a chance to go out there to go take a look at how they've graded that. I know their pond is in. I think their wet well's going in. So the idea that it's a great thing. So things are happening. We've been on the road giving this presentation, and it's been great, well received. People are just excited, because I know when the realtors, and they couldn't believe what was happening. So it was great. But thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Can we get golf balls out there yet on the soccer fields?
Not yet.
I think they ran over a couple of your old golf balls.
I wouldn't doubt that. Some of the buildings that you showed were already pre-constructed, and they're filling up some of those spaces. If you got it off the top of your head, how many of those types of places are left at this point? Quite a few.
Over especially in Seagate and in Oceanic, there was a lot of spec buildings constructed, and then the downturn hit. So they sat empty for the last 4 years or so. They are filling up rapidly. I would say Seagate is 60%, that's off the top of my head, full, and Oceanic is nearly 100%.
Well, I've been to an awful lot of those places that you've put on the screen there, so I know that these are pretty outstanding places. Coastal Academy is completed, actually, and they are. I mean, there are things that they still need to finish up, but the kids are attending school there, and I have some grandchildren attending there that love the place. The one thing I didn't hear you mention was FedEx. And do you know, can you tell us a little about that, or?
Well, FedEx does have an application into the city, and they're looking at putting in a 303 square foot facility, 303,000, excuse me, square foot facility that's going to employ 500 to 600 people, a distribution facility on 39 acres in Pacific Coast Business Park. But it's super preliminary. They have to go through their entitlements yet. So I was kind of bringing forward more of the stuff that's now, and you can see it and kind of feel it, because that's going to take a little bit of time, probably 6-7 months, maybe more, to get entitled.
Some of the things that you showed are going to take, like Sparsha Pharma, is going to take 3 or 4 years, 5 maybe, to really take off. But that's the kind of excitement that people are pretty interested, especially the commercial brokers. So I'm happy to see that presentation. I did not see it before. I knew it had been presented before, but it's, just not going to that sandbar. It looks like a little more work than I That's even more work than riding a bike home every day. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, what do we have to go through?
Could I just finish then?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Tracy, for that presentation. This actually started as a conversation about, well, what could we do with this commercially zoned land? And Tracy had wonderful ideas, recommendations, and in fact, let me know that she's coming forward soon with an economic sustainability plan update for Oceanside, because we do have a tremendous interest in ensuring that we have jobs for our residents, for our kids, for our grandkids, that we in fact are economically sustainable here in Oceanside, economically and environmentally. I was looking for a reaction from Jack, but he didn't.
Well, I don't.
Give one.
You use 2 words I'm not interested in.
Sustainability is important. That means, what sustainability means is that you're able to project into the future and be successful for your residents to be able to provide a certain quality of life. And that I know is something that is very near and dear to all of our residents.
We had
Hearts.
to use a different word before that was invented in the last couple of years.
You know, I want to say that I grew up here. I don't know if anybody heard that, but I grew up here when I graduated from high school, there were maybe 30,000 people in Oceanside. And there was definitely a sense about, you know, ensuring the future and how we're going to make sure that, you know, our kids come back. We're having our 40th high school reunion this year, and I'm surprised by the number of my classmates who either stayed in Oceanside or are coming back or have come back. And to me, that's a sign that we have been successful, at least in the past, and hopefully in the present, and more hopefully in the future. Thank you.
I believe council reports are next.
Yes, and with that,
Mayor Wood.
I have an item on the counter for review, and if I could zoom in on that, please. Thank you very much. My item for this is that, as you can see on the item on the table, San Diego Fire Aid. This is about all the wonderful things that were done this last week for the fires. All the wonderful firemen, police officers, and city staff that helped, not just here in Oceanside. Our fire department went to several different locations within the county to help fight fires. We watched on TV as our neighbor south of us and even San Marcos homes burnt. I have nothing but praise for the fire agencies throughout the county that were involved in the early stages. Because of the great effort by all these people, I was lucky enough to make contact with a lady in this area who's very prominent in the musical world. She wanted to put this on in the city of Oceanside to thank everybody in the fire services. As you can see from this, it's going to be on Saturday, May 31st, 1 o'clock to 5 p.m. at the Oceanside Amphitheater down by the pier. As you can see from this, it's fire relief efforts for the fire victims. The victims that lost stuff, we want to raise some money for the people that lost some things that weren't covered by insurance. We certainly also want to have some information and hopefully some costs go back to the Red Cross. As you can see from the flyer, it's going to be donations to those particular people. Tons of raffle items. It's going to be a car show, and I understand several bands. No prominent ones out of Los Angeles per se, even though some of them wanted to come down this way. We want to honor our heroes that did such a great job and get some money for the people who were victims in this area. I'm sure there's a lot of these going on in this area in the future, some way that people can say thank you to the fire agencies that were involved. and help the people that were fire victims. With that, you can see the phone numbers and information here that you may want. Just mark on your calendar, not that far from now, May 31st, 1 to 5 at the Beach Amphitheater. Again, I had a little comments I'd like to make. I thought our fire agency, the city of Oceanside, did a wonderful job, but when these all fires started, they were in Camp Pendleton, Carlsbad, and some other areas. When you watched the news, you saw our one big ladder truck that was mainly involved in the fires in Carlsbad. Again, I have nothing but praise for all the firefighters, policemen, and civilians that helped in that. You hear that everywhere. This is nothing new. They all want to thank them. I did say something on the news that some people took out of context. I said I didn't think the air services, fixed airplanes, or helicopters were heavily involved in the early stages of a fire. I think that was important for me to speak out because I think that's the safety of the firemen, policemen on the ground. That's their support air services. When it happened, my chief was in the room along with the police chief trying to cover this issue in our command center. I noticed that we only had one helicopter flying out of Carlsbad with houses burning. I made some phone calls and wondered where the air support was. I was a little concerned for the safety of the firemen on the ground, number one. And seeing buildings burning, I thought there should be air services, helicopter, fixed wing. Now, I understand they might have been busy, but I called for us. I made contact with Camp Pendleton and said, do you have any helicopters to drop water? They said several. However, they couldn't leave the base without Cal Air's authority to leave the base. I thought that was important in case the regular ones were tied up on the fires around the community. Why couldn't we have Camp Pendleton fly 2 minutes to Carlsbad and save some of those houses? I don't want people to take that out of context, but that's my opinion. I think we could have had more air services in the first 8 hours when we had the most problems. Later that night, you saw a lot of air services, including federal. That was at dusk and night. So my point on this is that in the future, I think we need to work together again as a state fire service and the military. If they can't get out right away, maybe the military can respond to help people on the ground and save houses. That was my point. Nothing more than that, just to say thank you to everybody, but I wish safety in the air to protect those firemen on the ground and save some of those houses in our neighboring cities. Our city did quite well on it in containing the fire in the riverbed. However, I think one airdrop would have put that fire out, which would have allowed our firemen to leave to go help other cities. I think you want to get more information. We'll hear about it after work. As you will know, in a big fire like that, we're going to talk about what was good and what was bad. And maybe in the future we'll have more communication with all the surrounding assets. In other words, if we have other ones that are so close that can be used, hopefully in the future we'll use those. That's all I have for this. And don't forget, on the 31st, bands at the Pier Amphitheater. Be there, enjoy all the fun and entertainment. And it's for the firemen. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Deputy Mayor Sanchez.
Thank you, and I also want to say thank you to our firefighters. They did such a fantastically great job, and for whatever it is, I'm sure that regionally we're having a debriefing, and thank you, Mayor, for pointing out what we probably haven't anticipated or been, at least in the near term, had the experience of, and that is having multiple. There were 10 fires, wildfires, where usually when we hear wildfire, we're thinking in terms of more eastern parts of the county. They were very near or in our urban core. So that really was something I want to congratulate our staff for, putting something that's on paper, which is basically a plan, and then actually, implementing it without really having a whole lot of experience, and it went very, very well. But I do think you have a great point, Mr. Mayor, and that is coordination with all of the individual agencies. There were some fantastic responses that we had here in Oceanside. Our fire was in the riverbed, but it did threaten a lot of residential structures. And in the end, we had this massive response to make sure that it was completely out and then to ensure that there were no flare-ups. So our firefighters did a fantastic job. There was one firefighter, I understand, who was from, I believe, the Fresno area, who, once he got home from our fires here, ended up dying. And not sure if it was some kind of effects of what happened here, but I have to say that we know that these are our firefighters, our police officers, and our police officers are also involved as well in terms of ensuring that if there were, if it was that close that people understood that they had to evacuate, that they put their lives on the line every day for us. So again, kudos, huge kudos to our firefighters. I kept hearing from people, you know, wow, we've got great firefighters. So this past week, I attended a celebration of life for Ruth Gans in Ocean Hills. Ruth Gans passed away a few months ago, and her actual service was in Los Angeles, where her daughter lives. And but her daughter wanted to make sure that Ruth's friends and like basically family here too, because Ruth lived in Ocean Hills for quite a while. It was really touching to see kind of the pictures, because her daughter had pictures of Ruth when she was younger, when she was, you know, a child, and her brother, and then what Ruth really did, and what she was just so very involved with her community in Ocean Hills and ensuring its protection. And I believe it was my first year on the council in 2001, where I met Ruth, and she made me promise. First of all, she explained to me how critical protecting her community in Ocean Hills was, and she made me promise that I'd always be there to protect Ocean Hills. So this was a fantastic, phenomenal person. And Ruth, I believe, reached 90 years old. And I'd like to be able to adjourn in her memory, Mr. Mayor. Now, I also attended on behalf of our mayor the Coastal Issues regional meeting that we had that was called by Supervisor Cox, who is our coastal commissioner for San Diego County. It was called Coastal Issues. It was called Let's Talk Coastal. And the major part of the meeting had to do with marine spatial planning and the potential for doing this here in San Diego County. The blue economy, that's the maritime economy, is, as presented, they said, is the biggest of all economic sectors in San Diego. That we have 14 economic sectors, and we are the most blue tech cluster in the U.S. So there's basically, the idea was to try to get, and there were 10 cities represented, as well as the county, as well as the port, San Diego Port District. The notion that perhaps we should start now in terms of looking at what other areas have done, mentioned Ireland, mentioned, in fact, Boston, Boston Harbor, places that they, in fact, are doing some kind, maritime spatial planning. So that was certainly very interesting. I also did a presentation. I was invited by the Southfield Merchants Association to do a presentation on water, and basically our plans for making sure that we have a local water supply. So there were a lot of really great questions that were asked. Main issue I think they were concerned about was what was going to happen with the La Salina treatment plant, and they want to know, and so I explained what staff is bringing forward, ensuring them that our most important interest is ensuring that it's the best interest of our Oceanside residents, that we have the most affordable water for our residents. So they liked the idea, the notion that if we were to adopt the plan proposed by staff, that in fact it would require a smaller footprint. Bottom line, that La Salina treatment plant would become a pumping station, which would be, again, a smaller footprint, that we would realize economies of scale, and we would be able to pump that sewage to our main sewage treatment plant, which is at the San Luis Rey treatment plant, and that we can then go forward on introducing and having recycling centers, recycling projects, one at El Corazon and one out, closer to our agricultural lands. So they love the idea of a park, of expanding our park. They did have some interesting questions. They did ask, these are some of the questions they asked, do we as a council, understanding that we have this limited supply of water, that we are in a drought and it's probably going to go into the future, do we as a council take into consideration our limited water supply when approving residential projects? Also, another question, are we requiring purple pipe hookups for all new construction? One of the things I've started to talk with Carrie Dale about these questions, and she had some, very good responses. With respect to requiring purple pipe hookups for all new construction, she did indicate that she will be bringing forward an ordinance soon to require this. So that's something that will be happening pretty soon. They also mentioned the Coast Highway Vision Plan meeting. This was, outside the discussion about water, but they did indicate that they had attended the meeting and were wondering, since this meeting that was held here at City Hall happened while we were having our fires, the wildfires, the air quality was very poor, whether that was going to be done again. So I imagine we are going to be doing that again. Is that right, Mr. Jepson?
What exactly are you recommending? Are you asking for?
The Coast Highway Vision Plan implementation meeting that was held, I believe it was a Thursday or Friday of that week that we were having the fires. We were actually having air quality problems. We were asking people countywide to stay in their homes, especially in North County. So apparently they felt that there would have been more people attend if it had not happened during that kind of emergency situation that we were having here in Oceanside. So will we be scheduling another such meeting in the near term?
We can. I was waiting to hear what the turnout was like. I saw that there were a number of people here for that, but I do know that we probably would have had a better turnout if it wasn't for people staying home for air quality. I'm certainly receptive to having additional meetings.
Great. Thank you. I'll let them know that. This Saturday is, there are a lot of things happening this Saturday, along with the event for our firefighters and victims of fires that happened, that's happening this Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m. at the band shell. We're also having the North County LGBTQ Gala. It's 7 to 11 p.m. at Oceanside Museum of Art. It's called Outrageous. That's the theme. This is a really, really fun event. This is really their main fundraiser. This is how they're able to reach out to everywhere in North County. This is the main resource center here in Oceanside. So we also have Crown Heights Community Festival. That's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. At the in Crown Heights. We're having We're also having, this coming week, we're having, I should say next Wednesday, we're having our high school graduation for Oceanside High and El Camino. So that's next Wednesday, June 4th. Oceanside, of course, is at the band shell. Saturday, June 7th is another big day for Oceanside. Race Across America. U.S. Open Elite Taekwondo Championship at the Junior Seau Amphitheater and Rec Center. That's 8:30 to 5. We also have Surfrider Beach Cleanup. And, of course, our 13th annual Filipino-American Cultural Celebration, again, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's also, that day, Saturday, June 7th, is also Founders Day at the Mission San Luis Rey, with the release of the ladybugs at 10:30 in the main gardens. So kids of all ages are invited to this this free event, releasing the ladybugs in the garden to ensure that the gardens will remain beautiful. Tuesday, June 10th, at 12 noon, we have the 5-year celebration of El Corazon Senior Center. So come on out and help us celebrate the El Corazon Senior Center. June 2nd, which is this coming Monday, we do have a budget hearing. So I invite everyone to come to that. That's 5 to 7 p.m. Usually we have our workshops, whatever meetings, early in the afternoon. This is a better attempt to try to get more access to this workshop, which is certainly critical. It's how we're going to decide how we're going to be spending our money this coming year. And again, just a great thank you to our firefighters. Thank you.
Councilmember Fouine.
Well, I do want to start off on a happy note. I found out from a family friend that the Pet of the Month presentations we do actually pay off, that they actually adopted one of the very pets that was presented by the mayor about a year ago. And so I was glad to hear that those connections pay off, and we are getting pets into homes based on what we're doing here at the City Council. So that was great news to hear. On May 8th, I was happy to attend the Boy Scout dinner for the Santa Margarita District, and proud to be elected for the second year in a row to the district board. And I always love to support the Boy Scouts wherever I can. As an Eagle Scout trained to live off the land, I like to participate and help the boys coming up. On Thursday the 8th also in the morning was the annual tourism summit. It's great to have our annual kickoff, and look forward to the new tourist season coming up. Each year gets better and better, and it's great to just see it all come together. Also, one of my favorite events of the year is the Heritage Park Day. And they had both a classic car presentation and the model railroads were open that just moved into the park. And I just think Heritage Park is one of the hidden jewels of Oceanside that documents and saves our history, going back to the founding of the city. So it's great to see events that are actually held there and bring people in the city to the park. Also, as was mentioned earlier, the Coast to Highway Vision Workshop took place on the 15th. Actually, it was very well attended. I came by and there was not a seat in the room, so it was crowded. I was surprised there was that many people there in view of the fires that were taking place. And I bring this up to certainly encourage any citizens out there concerned by these projects. It's important to come and participate early, because by the time the shovels are going in the ground, the decisions are already made. And so by all means, keep your eyes open, participate in these hearings. Let us know as a council what direction you want the city to go in. On Friday the 16th, we had the California Women's Lead lunch in Balboa Park. This is a statewide organization to try and encourage more women to look at the possibility of running for public office, serving on commissions, getting more involved in decision-making positions in state and local communities. It was exciting on the 16th as well. We actually had 3 businesses open up, and so I always try and get to as many of the business openings we have in the city, and basically celebrate their success and confidence in opening up and moving forward in our city. We had Baja Body, which was mentioned, Porta Subs, and Oceanside Magazine each had parties or business openings. The Oceanside Magazine, want to point out it's great that we have Oceanside residents coming forward to create a magazine focused specifically on Oceanside, that there's enough activity that will be worthy of print. And I certainly hope that magazine is a success, and that I do believe we will have enough activity going on in our city to justify that kind of coverage. On Saturday the 17th, the Chamber of Commerce once again had their annual Armed Forces Appreciation Day, and I was proud to be one of the servers for our military. And I can say since I was appointed treasurer, I've been able to attend every one of these lunches and honored to serve our military. Also want to thank the Kerns for having the Spring Fest for the Oceanside Arts Council at their house. I was happy to attend that. On the 21st, the Chamber of Commerce sponsored another business opening for the Origami Owl Ribbon Cutting business. They are a home-based business. And then on the 21st, I was happy to accept the invitation of our fire department staff and from the chief to go on a tour of the fire zone in the San Luis Rey River. And certainly I will join all the others giving accolades to our first responders. I think it was unique in that while the fire in the river certainly was not one of the larger ones in our area, but it certainly presented a challenge for our staff because so much of our personnel were out helping our neighbors with their extremely large fires. So we had to, on short notice, respond to this emergency, keep it contained. And when you see on North River Road where the fire had actually crossed the road from the river and was threatening Morro Hills, we certainly can give a great shout out to our fire department as well as I believe it's Orange County units were helping us out, and they did a fabulous job keeping this fire contained. We had fortunately only one house suffered serious damage, and our hearts go out to that family, but certainly things could have gone far worse had that fire gone out of control. And was happy to attend the annual Martin Luther King Scholarship Garden Reception that took place. And then on Memorial Day, it's always very moving to attend the Memorial Day ceremony that Vance has, and we look forward to the day that the ceremony takes place in a completed building. Also, it's always amazing to find out things that take place in our city that we're not aware of. I was proud to go on a business tour at Magnaflow, which is a business in Oceanside manufacturing mufflers and catalytic converters, and they have a 300,000-foot facility. They send their product all over the country, and they have plans to expand in Oceanside based on increasing demand. And it's just great to see that activity take place in Oceanside and to see that the city's moving forward on so many fronts. Thank you.
Councilmember Feller.
I think we're just making KOCT employees a lot of money here. We had a great holiday with Memorial Day. That's a time for us to honor those that gave it all, and I'd like to add that we close in the name of all those people that have given their all for us to be how we are, and whether we're free to just do whatever we need to do, and it's I think something that seems to be forgotten over picnics and everything else that happens. So that's my report.
Councilmember Kern.
I'd like to compliment Councilmember Feller, because I know he's getting pretty close to being up for 24 hours right now, because he flew back from Indiana this morning. I think he left at 1 o'clock that time, and I think it's coming up on midnight in Indiana right now. So congratulations, Jack, for hanging in there. Just a couple things. Yeah, I did attend the Let's Talk Coastal with the people from coastal staff yesterday and all the coastal cities. And actually, this came out of a conversation that when Greg Cox reached out to me because he wanted to talk to the North County coastal cities, and I arranged a meeting with him and the cities in Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, and Del Mar. And one of the requests that came out of that was to meet with the executive director and coastal staff about how we can streamline processes. I didn't think it would be as big as it was yesterday. I was shocked when going into the room, because we were at the Sandag boardroom and there was no empty seats. Our planning director, our city planner was there, the deputy mayor was there, so I thought that worked out really, really well. So I think, some of the things that Coastal wants is what we want, and I think they want to be more cooperative, and I think they're looking for us to move along those lines too. So, quickly, library book sale this last weekend. The next one's August 16th. Please come. I hurt my back lifting a lot of books, putting them away. So the more they sell, the less I lift. The Operation Appreciation, the Martin Luther King Scholarship that was mentioned before, the Oceanside Cultural Arts Foundation was in Blake Kern's backyard. I know everybody said it was Blake and Jerry's backyard, but it's Blake's house. She just lets me live there. So it was her backyard, and it was pretty well attended. They raised a lot. The only thing on the regional cooperation that I know we talked about the firefighters, but during that incident, the Carlsbad Police Department lost power to their center. And so Oceanside took over being police calls for service. And if you'd watched the news, when they were evacuating Aviara Oaks Elementary School, there was an Oceanside Police Department car there managing that evacuation. So we picked up on that one. And then I just wanted to say, the regional cooperation that we have with all our police and fire services work very, very well. And then the last thing, next week on Journalist Roundtable, KOCT, I will be on there explaining about the decommissioning of Shannon-O'Fray. So anything you want to know about nuclear power, I can tell you everything I know. So everything I know, so that gives me about 10 minutes. So that'll be next week. So, and I've been attending those meetings all along. And that's it. Thank you.
With that, I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting to June 2nd, workshop at 5 p.m. this location. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Go ahead, please. You got it. Moment of silence for those people. Thank you very much.
Ruth Gans and...
I'm sorry about the hearing problem and the stuffy head from my allergies, but we'll still get through this. Thank you very much. A moment of silence, please, for those people passing. Thank you very much. Have a good, safe week.
Well, yeah, I'm happy.